Chapter 71. In 2 days, Long Yu had cultivated the heaven-suppressing spear art to the small success stage and was able to integrate the concept of the heaven-suppressing art. At this moment, Long Yu held the heaven-suppressing spear in his hand and fused it with the power of heaven and earth as he executed the heaven-suppressing spear art. The might of his spear thrust was comparable to the supreme-grade martial technique, lying drunk in the yellow springs. Furthermore, this spear is imbued with the suppressive power of the laws of heaven and earth. It can condense the suppressive power at the tip of the spear, maximizing its might. Long Yu nodded in satisfaction. If Xiao Chen wanted to cultivate a superior-grade martial technique to great perfection, even with the help of the 9 underworld dragon seal, he would need at least half a month. In just 2 short days, it was already not bad that he could achieve a small accomplishment. At this moment, Long Yu had reached the peak of the flash wind step. He could create afterimages and cross 30 meters in 3 steps in an instant. When the demon-vanquishing tyrant body was cultivated to the perfection realm, it was a level higher than the wind flash step. Not only did it make the body as hard as a boulder, it also tempered the 5 internal organs and dantian. The vitality of the profound qi far surpassed that of ordinary martial cultivators. Apart from that, there was also the first skill of the 9 nether dragon fist, drunk lying in the yellow springs. Furthermore, he had the small perfection transcendent movement technique, ghost flash, and the heaven-suppressing spear art. Next, I will focus on drunken underworld, ghost flash, and heaven-suppressing spear technique, Long Yu thought to himself. There was no need for him to spend more time on the flash wind step. He had already cultivated the demon-vanquishing tyrant body to perfection and tempered his 5 viscera. However, lying drunk yellow springs, spectre flash, and heaven-suppressing spear art, these 3 great martial techniques would bring about great changes with every increase in level. Xiao Chen would not regret spending time on them. It's time to head to the martial arena. Long Yu looked at the sky. The sun had just risen, and it was almost time for the challenge. His opponent this time was the 15th ranked core disciple, Meng Su. At the same time, Meng Su was also Luo Tailong's subordinate. Hey, wait for me, I'll go with you. Liao Lele hurriedly followed. Both of them headed towards the Zhentian clan's combat arena. In the arena, Meng Su's challenge to Long Yu had attracted the attention of many heaven-suppressing sect disciples. At this time, the martial arts arena was already filled with people. There were no empty seats, and everyone was guessing the outcome of this challenge. With Long Yu's strength, he can at most be ranked 50th among the core disciples. He will definitely lose today's battle. That's not necessarily true. I've heard that Long Yu can really defeat Feng Yun. One must know that Feng Yun's strength is no longer the 10th ranked core disciple. Are you joking? Feng Yun, if it wasn't for the alliance of the 3 great clans of Jade Pass City, how could you have lost? That's right. This Long Yu merely took advantage of the situation. After today's battle, he will reveal his true colors. Many of the Zhentian clan disciples were not optimistic about Long Yu. After all, Jade Pass City and the Zhentian clan were quite far apart. What happened there would naturally be a different story when it reached here. On the spectator's stand, the ferocious-looking Luo Tailong sat in the front row. Behind him, there was a rather scholarly-looking young man who was wiping the longsword in his hand. Meng Su, are you confident? Luo Tailong asked. The scholarly young man's hand paused for a moment, then he leisurely smiled. Is there a need to ask? The longsword in my hand is a high-ranked combat weapon that I received from the sect last month. It took me 3 months to get it. This person was Meng Su. A high-ranked combat weapon was extremely powerful. Even Feng Yun did not have one. Every core disciple who wanted to obtain a high-ranked combat weapon had to complete the sect's missions for 3 consecutive months without receiving any reward. Only then could they accumulate a high-ranked combat weapon. A high-ranked combat weapon was similar to Feng Changa's bronze ancient sword. It had a terrifying amplification effect on sword skills. Furthermore, Meng Su was already at the 9th rank of the martial path. What was there to be afraid of against a mere 8th rank Long Yu? Very good. Later on, don't care if he begs for mercy. At the very least, cripple his cultivation. Do you understand? Luo Tailong lowered his voice and reminded. Senior brother Luo, don't worry. From today onwards, even if that kid doesn't die, he will be a cripple. Meng Su's face was scholarly, but his eyes flashed with a murderous glint. He had no enmity with Long Yu, but in order to please Luo Tailong and obtain some benefits, he had decided to kill Long Yu or cripple his cultivation. Just as the two were discussing, two figures appeared at the entrance of the arena. One of them was the long-awaited black-clothed Long Yu. The other person was Liao Lele, who was wearing a blue shirt. Her cute figure immediately attracted the attention of many people when she appeared. It had to be said that Liao Lele was quite cute, especially after dressing up. Her temperament was completely different from usual. In her words, "It's not easy to go out with Long Yu, so of course I have to dress up nicely." However, Long Yu didn't mind at all. This made Liao Lele secretly unhappy. This kid didn't give her any face at all. When Long Yu arrived at the arena, he immediately saw Luo Tailong and the scholarly young man sitting behind him, Meng Su. A high-ranked combat weapon, not bad. Long Yu narrowed his eyes and stepped into the arena. His opponent had a high-ranked combat weapon, but he also had the Qian Long spear. Previously, when he was fighting against Fengyun, Long Yu had defeated him with the underworld drunken skill. However, he didn't plan to use it now. He wanted to test out the power of the Qian Long spear and the heaven-suppressing spear art. Good luck! Liao Lele encouraged him, then ran to the side, ready to watch the battle. Long Yu stepped into the center of the arena and pointed the Qian Long spear at Meng Su. Come out? When the crowd saw the long spear in Long Yu's hand, they were immediately attracted by the cracks on the spear's shaft. They couldn't help but burst into laughter. This guy, even if he practiced a spear technique, he shouldn't have found such a broken spear. What a joke. Such a broken spear wants to fight against senior brother Meng Su's high-ranked combat weapon? In my opinion, the spear will be cut in half in a moment. Everyone burst into laughter, including Luo Tailong and Meng Su. Luo Tailong didn't expect Long Yu to fight with such a broken spear. He originally thought that Long Yu was only using the spear to practice his spear when he was at the entrance of the martial skill pavilion. Break his spear, break his martial arts, Luo Tailong said fiercely. Senior brother Luo, the sword in my hand won't disappoint you. Meng Su's figure moved and he floated onto the arena. Long Yu held the Qian Long spear and looked at Meng Su. The profound energy in his body quietly gathered at the tip of the Qian Long spear. Long Yu, I was looking forward to your strength, but now you've disappointed me. I didn't expect you to become the 10th-ranked core disciple so easily. Meng Su walked onto the arena and said indifferently. He looked at Long Yu with obvious disappointment in his eyes. Nonsense, don't talk so much, Long Yu said expressionlessly. Then, he moved his feet and his figure flickered. With the Qian Long spear in his hand, he charged toward Meng Su. Heaven-suppressing spear art, heaven and earth aura suppress. In that instant, before Meng Su could react, Long Yu released a terrifying heaven-suppressing aura. Then, this aura completely gathered at the tip of the Qian Long spear, and it tore through the air. Meng Su didn't expect Long Yu to directly attack. He was still playing with the longsword in his hand, but Long Yu's spear had already swept toward him. What frightened him the most was that before Long Yu's spear arrived, a terrifying suppression aura had already descended. Buzz! Meng Su's mind exploded, and his entire body was instantly suppressed, unable to move at all. The profound energy in his body had completely stagnated. He wanted to release the heaven-suppressing aura that he had comprehended, but he realized that he couldn't even release it now. With the heaven-suppressing spear art combined with the Qianlong spear, this spear attack that was infused with the heaven-suppressing aura could instantly suppress an opponent. Although his thoughts were clear, his body couldn't react at all. This was a scene that no one had expected. The tip of the spear arrived and instantly pressed against Meng Su's neck. Even now, Meng Su couldn't move. "You've lost," Long Yu said indifferently. Gulp. Meng Su couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Cold sweat flowed down his back, and his gaze was completely focused on Long Yu with some fear. Now, Long Yu only needed a single thrust of his spear to easily end his life. After a moment, Long Yu withdrew his hand and withdrew the Qianlong spear. Now that the Zhentian clan was facing the oppression and threat of their great enemy, the Thousand Thread sect, Long Yu didn't want to cripple or kill a powerhouse of the Zhentian clan at this time. No matter what, Meng Su would also be a powerhouse of the Zhentian clan at the Seven-Sect martial competition. However, just as he withdrew the Qianlong spear and was about to turn around to leave, a trace of ruthlessness flashed in Meng Su's eyes, and he actually launched a surprise attack toward Long Yu's back. With a flash of sword light, Meng Su used the supreme sword-type martial skill of the Zhentian clan, Autumn Sword Observation. The Autumn Sword Observation that had been cultivated to the mastery realm, together with the high-ranked combat weapon in his hand, seemed to bring about the desolate scene of autumn leaves. The autumn wind blew, and withered leaves fluttered in the air. A single strike was the arrival of his opponent's Autumn of Death. Long Yu was extremely sensitive to killing intent. Before Meng Su launched a surprise attack, he was already on guard. At this moment, facing the autumn sword observation that was coming from behind and the biting autumn wind, Long Yu had no intention of dodging at all. Heaven-suppressing momentum, suppress! Long Yu immediately turned around and swept his celestial dragon spear behind him with the suppressive power of heaven and earth. The terrifying heaven-suppressing momentum intertwined with the biting autumn wind, instantly suppressing the autumn wind. Then, the spear swept across Meng Su's longsword. Clang! Crack! With a single strike, the blade of the longsword was instantly shattered by the powerful force at the tip of the spear. A high-ranked combat weapon was actually destroyed by Long Yu just like that. The heaven-suppressing momentum at the tip of the spear continued forward. After shattering the longsword, it once again enveloped Meng Su. Meng Su was stunned on the spot, his eyes filled with fear. No one had expected Long Yu to have the strength to crush Meng Su. A high-ranked combat weapon was actually shattered by the lousy spear in Long Yu's hand. Die! Chapter 72. As Meng Su was sent flying by the spear and fell to the ground, everyone in the arena was dumbfounded. Especially the high-ranked combat weapon, which was shattered by Long Yu's shabby-looking spear. Everyone was instantly shocked. A high-ranked combat weapon was a treasure that most of the Zhentian clan's disciples could only dream of owning. However, such a powerful combat weapon was shattered by Long Yu. It was not hard to imagine how much power Long Yu's spear contained. At this moment, no one dared to say that Long Yu was not worthy of being ranked 10th among the core disciples. Sending Meng Su flying with a spear and shattering a high-ranked combat weapon with great strength, no matter which one it was not something an ordinary person could do. Even Luo Tailong, who was sitting in the first row of the spectator area, had a change of expression. Shattering a high-ranked combat weapon with great strength, even Luo Tailong himself could not do that. This Long Yu is indeed not weak. Luo Tailong squinted his eyes, which were flickering with an ominous glint. Of course, the reason why he asked Meng Su to challenge Long Yu was to test Long Yu. Now, it seemed like it was necessary. At least, it would make him, Luo Tailong, not treat Long Yu as an ordinary cultivator. That spear, there's something strange about it. Luo Tailong stared at the Qian dragon spear in Long Yu's hand, and wondered if it was a supreme-ranked combat weapon. A supreme-ranked combat weapon was something that even the number 1 core disciple of the Zhentian clan might not be able to obtain. It was simply too rare, and was not meant to be rewarded to a disciple. Unless a disciple made a great contribution to the Gentian clan, only then would they be rewarded with a supreme-ranked combat weapon. However, how was it possible for Long Yu to obtain one? This guy had not even completed a single ordinary mission for the sect since he joined the sect 3 months ago. As expected, you have some connections. But even so, do you think I, Luo Tailong, am afraid of you? Luo Tailong sneered, but did not stand up. He already had a good idea to deal with Long Yu himself, and he didn't need to do it in front of everyone. This Meng Su really can't withstand a single blow. Just as Long Yu was about to turn around and leave the stage, a somewhat lazy voice suddenly rang out from the spectator stands on the other side of the stage. Looking towards the source of the voice, Long Yu saw a sword-wielding man in gray walking towards him in a somewhat dispirited manner. The gray-clothed man with a sword glanced at Meng Su, who was knocked to the ground by Long Yu, and whose meridians were all broken. He shook his head and said, "TSK, to deal with a guy like Meng Su, you have to use sneak attacks. Long Yu, in my eyes, you are nothing." Hua Yiluan? Long Yu furrowed his brows and quickly recalled. 2 days ago, when he was cultivating the heaven-suppressing spear art, Liao Lele had told him that the 6th-ranked core disciple that Luo Tailong had defeated not long ago was called Hua Yiluan, who was originally the top disciple below the true spirit mystic realm. Unfortunately, after being challenged by Luo Tailong, Hua Yiluan had dropped to the 12th position of the core disciple. Hua Yiluan, like Meng Su, cultivated the supreme martial technique, Autumn Observation Sword. However, his strength was much stronger than Meng Su's, and they were not on the same level. It could be said that if Hua Yiluan were to fight with Meng Su, he would also be able to defeat Meng Su in one move. Based on Hua Yiluan's strength, he would definitely not be willing to stay at the 12th position of the core disciple. At this moment, it was Meng Su's chance to challenge Long Yu. He had wanted to challenge Meng Su and raise his ranking to the 10th position, but he had not expected Meng Su to be so useless and be sent flying by Long Yu's spear. Sneak attack? Hua Yiluan, your vision is too narrow. No wonder you were defeated by Luo Tailong. Long Yu chuckled. Although Hua Yiluan said that he had defeated Meng Su with a sneak attack, the truth was that he had relied on an extremely strong heaven and earth grand power and incomparably swift speed to intimidate Meng Su. On the contrary, after Long Yu had spared Meng Su had launched a sneak attack on him, but he had been sent flying by Long Yu's absolutely stunning spear attack. How could such a battle be considered a sneak attack by Long Yu? Long Yu's words caused Hua Yiluan's originally dispirited eyes to flash with a hint of fierceness. You are only ranked 10th among the core disciples, and you actually dare to lecture me, Hua Yiluan, for being narrow-minded? I think you are too self-centered. Even so, what do you want? Long Yu asked calmly. The opportunity to challenge a core disciple is only available once every half a year. Originally, I did not want to waste this opportunity on you. Hua Yiluan sneered. However, since you have provoked me, I, Hua Yiluan, have no choice but to teach you a lesson. I will let you know who is the narrow-minded one. Clang! A crisp sound was heard. The long sword in Hua Yiluan's hand was unsheathed, and a silver light shone from it. It was actually a high-ranked combat weapon. Seeing that Hua Yiluan actually stood out and challenged Long Yu, the surrounding crowd became excited. It's actually Hua Yiluan. It seems like Long Yu is going to lose for sure. That's right. Although Long Yu easily defeated Meng Su, Hua Yiluan can do the same. There's going to be a good show. Hua Yiluan was defeated by Luo Tailong, so he must be filled with resentment. This Long Yu is really unlucky to bump into him. Hua Yiluan's strength was originally ranked 6th among the core disciples. Although he was defeated by Luo Tailong, his strength could still be considered as one of the top in the Gentian clan below the true spirit secret realm. In particular, Hua Yiluan cultivated the transcendent rank martial skill, Autumn Observation Sword. It had long reached perfection, and he had used it against Luo Tailong. A transcendent rank sword skill at perfection was extremely powerful. Even Luo Tailong could only barely defeat Huailuan in the end. "I accept your challenge," Long Yu said indifferently. He raised his universe dragon spear and pointed it at Huailuan. It just so happened that Long Yu felt that Meng Su was too weak to accurately measure the power of the heaven-suppressing spear art. Now that Huailuan had challenged him, it was exactly what Long Yu wanted. Luo Tailong didn't seem to be preparing to make a move, so he would first use Huailuan as his opponent. "Watch my sword!" Huailuan's figure was incomparably elegant. With a flash of his silver longsword, he appeared in front of Long Yu. "He's really fast." Long Yu's eyes lit up. This Huailuan's strength was indeed much stronger than Meng Su's. If Meng Su had this kind of speed, Long Yu wouldn't be able to defeat him with one spear strike. However, in terms of speed, Long Yu also had it. Ghost Flash. Long Yu transformed into a ghost, and his entire body actually became somewhat illusory. Then, he floated back more than 30 meters like smoke, easily dodging Huailuan's swift sword strike. "How can Ghost Flash compare to my world's end near?" Huailuan sneered. His gray-robed figure flickered, and his entire person seemed to have transformed into a world apart. He followed closely behind Long Yu. The long sword that flashed with silver light appeared in Long Yu's vision like a venomous snake. Using spear against sword, press forward. The long spear in Long Yu's hand swept horizontally, and it instantly swept out with the momentum of the heaven-suppressing spear, stabbing at the oncoming longsword. The universe dragon spear seemed to have a spiritual roar of a true dragon, causing Long Yu's entire body to boil with profound energy. The momentum of heaven and earth instantly spread out in all directions, enveloping Huailuan's entire body. "Suppress!" Long Yu shouted, and the tip of his spear immediately met Huailuan's silver longsword. Guanqiu sword, fall of autumn leaves. Huailuan had indeed cultivated the Guanqiu sword to perfection. The silver longsword in his hand waved, and instantly, countless autumn leaves fell. Even under the suppression of Long Yu's momentum of heaven and earth, these autumn leaves seemed to be weightless. They all flew towards the tip of the universe dragon spear, and in an instant they completely covered it. The shadow of the spear tip was instantly covered by countless autumn leaves. Then, a burst of sound rang out, and the autumn leaves instantly exploded. Huailuan's silver longsword pierced through the air, and actually withstood the heavy pressure of heaven and earth as it flew towards Long Yu's face. This Huailuan actually used the divine charm of heaven and earth to offset part of the pressure of my momentum of heaven and earth. The remaining pressure was actually unable to completely suppress him. His strength is much stronger than Meng Su's. Long Yu could clearly sense that Huailuan's speed had slowed down a lot under the suppression of the great power of the heavens and earth, but he was still able to move. This was the reason why his comprehension and utilization of profound energy and concepts far surpassed Meng Su. The autumn leaves exploded, and a sword of silver light attacked. Momentum of heaven and earth sweep. Long Yu swept his spear horizontally, accurately blocking Huailuan's sword. Moreover, the momentum of heaven and earth condensed on it suddenly formed a wave of pressure that surged towards Huailuan like the waves of the sea. In the face of this huge wave of pressure, Huailuan did not panic, and the silver longsword in his hand swung out. Guanqiu sword, cold frost rises. Wherever the silver light emitted from the longsword landed, patches of snow-white frost rapidly condensed, instantly forming a wall of frost. With a loud bang, it blocked the power of the world contained in Long Yu's spear. Crack! The wall of cold frost was hit by the spear condensed by the momentum of heaven and earth, and a trace of cracks appeared on its surface, but it actually blocked the spear. Not only that, the cold frost also blocked Long Yu's momentum of heaven and earth, so that it could not affect Huailuan himself. "Your autumn of death has come." Huailuan sneered, and his figure jumped high. His long sword swung, and the autumn leaves danced along with the cold frost. Waves of desolate aura descended from the sky, and the whole person of Long Yu was shrouded in it. Not only that, but Long Yu could also feel that Hua Iluan and the silver longsword had reached a stage of resonance. In this way, the power of Hua Iluan's swordsmanship with the silver longsword was even greater. In the 9th stage of the martial path, using a transcendent rank martial skill to perfection, coupled with a high-grade combat weapon, was actually able to release such a terrifying power. It was much stronger than the wind and clouds from before. For Luo Tailong to be able to defeat Hua Iluan like this, his strength cannot be underestimated. As expected of the strongest person below the true spirit realm. At this moment, Long Yu's heartbeat sped up, and even his dantian began to throb. Coupled with the spiritual roar of the true dragon in the Qian Long spear, his blood seemed to boil. 1. Chapter 73. Long Yu threw the Cosmos Dragon spear in his hand at Hua Iluan, and the pressure of the heaven-suppressing momentum instantly enveloped his entire body. However, when Hua Iluan saw this, he was shocked for a moment, but it was quickly followed by joy. As long as he could block this spear, wouldn't Long Yu's combat strength be greatly reduced after he threw the spear? World's End near, World's End barrier. Profound energy condensed in front of Hua Iluan, and an illusory World's End barrier instantly appeared. This was a defensive technique that could be used after mastering the World's End near to perfection. In front of the World's End barrier, even if it was only a few feet away, it would be as far as the end of the world. The Cosmos Dragon's spear let out a spiritual roar, and the tip of the spear pointed at the World's End barrier. The pressure of the heaven and earth suddenly suppressed it, and it actually shattered the entire World's End barrier. Now that the spear has left your hand, let's see what else you can use to block my sword. With the long sword in hand, Hua Iluan descended from the sky and launched a surprise attack. Autumn leaves fell, and cold frost rose. In the next moment, the autumn of Long Yu's death had arrived. However, Long Yu stood firmly in place, and the soul glove on his right fist flickered with a faint black mist. 9 nether dragon fist, drunk in the yellow springs, eat my fist! With a punch, the aura of the 9 nether surged out and formed a gloomy yellow springs road, instantly enveloping Hua Iluan. The aura of the 9 nether intimidated everything, and Hua Iluan's mind was instantly lost in the Yellow Springs Road. Long Yu took a leap and traversed through the Yellow Springs Road. In a moment, he arrived in front of Hua Iluan and heavily punched out. Bang! With a loud sound, Hua Iluan was sent flying by the punch and fell heavily to the ground. The high-ranked combat weapon, the silver glow longsword, fell to the ground with a clang. When Hua Iluan's gray figure fell to the ground, the entire arena fell into silence. At this moment, even Luo Tailong stood up and looked at the arena with a grave expression. Just now, when Long Yu punched out, Luo Tailong faintly felt a strange aura spreading, but it disappeared in an instant. Long Yu's punch just now must be some kind of super powerful martial technique, and it's definitely not a martial technique of the Zhentian clan. Luo Tailong was almost certain. However, no matter how hard he tried to guess, it was impossible for him to know the origin of the 9 Abyss Dragon Fist. Not to mention him, even the leader of the Zhentian clan, Bai Yunzong, would not know about the Dragon Fist of the 9 Nether. Is there anyone else who wants to challenge? Long Yu surveyed his surroundings. With a wave of his hand, he picked up the Heaven Dragon's spear and looked down upon everyone like a king. His gaze lingered on Luo Tailong for a moment. If Luo Tailong wanted to fight, Long Yu wouldn't mind fighting again. Unfortunately, Luo Tailong sneered, and his killing intent didn't diminish in the slightest. You are the 10th core disciple, and I am the 6th core disciple. If anyone wants to challenge someone, it should be you challenging me. Is that so? Long Yu said nonchalantly, however. Who was the one who said that today was the day of my death? The person who killed your father. I am right in front of you, but you don't dare to challenge me. What a joke. You don't have to provoke me. The fact that you were able to defeat Hua Iluan today means that your strength is still up to par. Luo Tailong remained unmoved as he said coldly, however, with your cultivation in the 8th stage of the martial path, there's still a gap between us. As soon as he finished speaking, Luo Tailong turned around and walked out of the arena, leaving the crowd only to see his ferocious figure in red. Long Yu narrowed his eyes as he looked at Luo Tailong's back. He thought to himself that this Luo Tailong would be a difficult opponent. Just by sensing his killing intent, he could tell that he had killed many people. Such a person definitely wouldn't be able to use simple strategies. The only method Long Yu could use was to crush him with absolute strength. Tomorrow is the time to receive the core disciple reward. I'll go back and rest first before heading to the Sect Valley to cultivate. With the Universe Dragon Spear in hand, Long Yu didn't even look at Hua Iluan and Meng Su, who were lying on the ground. He walked straight to the exit of the arena. Naturally, Liao Lele was overjoyed as well. Long Yu had won 2 rounds in such a domineering manner, allowing her to have a deeper understanding of Long Yu's strength. This had also stimulated her conviction to work hard in her cultivation. After Long Yu and Luo Tailong left, the spectators in the arena once again broke out into heated discussions. The fist technique that Long Yu used is definitely not one of our Zhentian clan's martial techniques. Furthermore, that spear is definitely not a reward from the Zhentian clan. Who is he? I heard that he grew up in the Ling family villa. However, wasn't there news 2 days ago that the Ling family villa's eldest son, Ling Lai, had one of his arms crippled by Long Yu? That's right, it's too strange. I even heard that he's from the Feng family. Which news is true and which is false? Everyone was discussing fervently, but no one knew where Long Yu had come from. White Cloud had asked many elders to spread false news. Of course, they had to first confuse their own people before they could confuse others. At least for now, Long Yu's true identity couldn't be discovered by some people in the Imperial City. The next day, after resting for a day, Long Yu went to the Elder's cabinet in the bamboo forest alone. Early in the morning, there were many people coming and going in the Elder's cabinet. This was because many core disciples had chosen to receive their core disciple rewards today. At the same time, they accepted the sect's missions and made their due contributions to the sect. Yang Tianxue ranked 13th among the core disciples. Reward: 1 superior grade elixir, 1 wind parting pill. 2 days of cultivation in the Sect Valley. A mighty and majestic voice came from the Elder's pavilion and entered Long Yu's ears from far away. Yang Tianxue, who had previously failed to challenge Fengyun, was still ranked 13th among the core disciples. Today, he had also come to receive his core disciple reward. Long Yu walked towards the Elder's cabinet. Soon, he saw a cold-looking young man in white walking out. It was Yang Tianxue. Upon seeing Long Yu, Yang Tianxue's eyes were obviously surprised. However, he snorted coldly. So it's you, Long Yu. Did Ling Han also invite you to go to the Ling clan's manor house? You know Ling Han? Long Yu raised his eyebrows and asked. When he wasn't clear about the other party's stance, Long Yu definitely wouldn't take the initiative to reveal any information about himself to others. He invited me, Yang Tianxue, to head to the Ling family villa in half a month to help him with something. Yang Tianxue was habitually arrogant. However, he immediately thought of the news that spread yesterday. This Long Yu had actually consecutively defeated Meng Su and Hua Iluan. His strength was clearly stronger than Yang Tianxue's. Yang Tianxue had failed to challenge Fengyun. However, Long Yu had actually killed Fengyun in Jade Pass City. Who was strong and who was weak, one look was enough to tell. However, Yang Tianxue immediately thought of something. He put away the feeling of defeat in his heart and regained his confidence. He glanced at Long Yu and said coldly, "The Ling family villa is enough for the few of us to go. It's better if you don't go." There was only one great treasure, and not just anyone could obtain it. You only have one life. If you don't listen to my warning and insist on going, don't blame me for not warning you when the time comes and you lose your life. My life doesn't seem to have anything to do with you, Long Yu said indifferently. Hearing this Yang Tian's words, how could he not see the other party's hostility towards him? Since he was an enemy and not a friend, there was no need for Long Yu to say anything more to him. With Ling Han's invitation, Long Yu definitely had to go. Otherwise, wouldn't that be not giving Ling Han face? Just because of that, brother Long Yu couldn't reject Ling Han. As for this Yang Tian's, the meaning of his words was to warn Long Yu not to snatch the treasure from them. However, in Long Yu's view, that treasure should originally belong to Ling Han. He also didn't know who Ling Han had invited to go with him. It's up to you whether you want to listen or not. You will soon know that life or death is completely your own choice. Yang Tian's finished speaking coldly. Holding the high-grade wind-parting pill that he had just been rewarded, he turned around and left. Long Yu looked at his cold back view and laughed lightly. This Yang Tian's threat, he wouldn't even put it in his eyes. He collected his thoughts, turned around, and walked into the Elder Cabinet. This was the third time he came to the Elder Cabinet, and every time he came, the people he saw were different. The first time, he saw almost all the elders of the Zhentian clan. The second time, he only saw the sect leader, Bai Yunzong. This time, he saw a strong man with a dark face and thick arms. He was Elder Wu Jianxin, who was in charge of handing out the rewards to the core disciples. Elder Wu, I'm Long Yu, ranked 10th among the core disciples. Long Yu calmly walked into the Elder Cabinet and introduced himself to Elder Wu Jianxin. Wu Jianxin raised his head, and a dark face appeared in front of Long Yu. However, he didn't look too good. You're Long Yu? Wu Jianxin snorted. Ranked 10th among the core disciples, your reward is a high-grade wind-parting pill. In addition, you can cultivate in the Sect Valley for 3 days. Long Yu wasn't surprised by Wu Jianxin's attitude. Before coming here, Long Yu had already heard that Luo Tailong was Elder Wu Jianxin's disciple. In the Zhentian clan, if a disciple was talented enough and caught the eye of the Elder Cabinet or the Enforcement Elder, they could be accepted as a disciple and nurtured with more cultivation resources. Each elder of the Elder Cabinet could choose 2 disciples, while the Enforcement Elder could only choose 1 disciple. For example, Qin Tianke was the disciple of the Enforcement Elder, Tan Wuchuan. Now Wu Jianxin was Luo Tailong's master. As for the most talented core disciple in the sect, he was accepted as a disciple by the sect leader, Bai Yunzong. This world was a world of martial arts elite. Of course, the Zhentian clan implemented an elite strategy. They allowed the elders to recruit talented disciples and give them more cultivation resources. This way, they could nurture more pillars for the sect. Currently, many of the elders in the Elder Cabinet were disciples of another elder. For example, Li Bufan, the handsome young man in green who was guarding the martial skill pavilion, was the eldest disciple of the sect leader, Bai Yunzong. This is a wind-parting pill, catch. Wu Jianxin threw a small porcelain bottle containing the pill to Long Yu with a dark face and said, You've received this month's reward. This month, you have to complete a mission for the sect. The contents of this mission are recorded on this bamboo slip. A bamboo slip with some words recorded on it was thrown into Long Yu's hand. Long Yu caught the bamboo slip and couldn't help but think that since Wu Jianxin was Luo Tailong's master, he must have known that Long Yu had killed Luo Tailong's adoptive father, Luo Qinghui, in Jade Pass City. Chapter 74. After Long Yu left the Elder's Pavilion, he opened the rolled-up bamboo slip and looked at its content. Elder Yu Shuiyun was injured while defending against the Thousand Thread sect's enemy. He needs some special herbs to refine pills to heal his injuries. As a core disciple of the sect, he is obligated to head into the depths of the soaring snake abyss to collect 3 types of herbs for Elder Yu. For this mission, 5 teams of core disciples will be dispatched, each led by an enforcement elder. Among them, Luo Tailong, Long Yu, and Meng Su will form the 4th team, led by enforcement elder Tan Wuchuan. Herbs to be collected: dragon head grass, flowerless acorn, and sweet tulip flower. Once he finished reading the contents of the bamboo scroll, a cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes. This mission was to collect herbs for Elder Yu to refine pills to heal his injuries. Of course, Long Yu was happy to accept this. Even if the sect didn't reward him, he would still do his best. After all, Elder Yu was injured to save him and Ling Han. But now, he was in the same team as Luo Tailong and Meng Su, and Tan Wuchuan was the leader. The sinister intention behind this was obvious. Long Yu had killed Tan Wuchuan's disciple, Qin Tianke, and Luo Tailong's godfather, Luo Chenghui. Once they entered the depths of the soaring snake abyss with these 2 people, how could Long Yu survive? No matter how strong Long Yu was, he couldn't fight Tan Wuchuan of the true spirit realm head-on. What a good plan! Long Yu's eyes flashed. However, did Wu Jianxin really think that he would be able to finish off Long Yu with just this? I, Long Yu, have never been afraid of anything. Long Yu thought to himself, counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. Even if Tan Wuchuan from the true spirit realm wanted to kill him in the middle of a mission, it would not be an easy task. Dragon head grass, flowerless acorn, and bittersweet flower. These 3 herbs could only be found in the depths of the soaring serpent abyss. The last time Long Yu went to the soaring serpent abyss and saw the soaring serpent king, it was only in the middle of the soaring serpent abyss. If he went deeper, he would encounter even more powerful beasts. He might even encounter spirit beasts that had condensed their true spirits. On the heavenly mandate continent, if a ferocious beast could comprehend heaven and earth and cultivate along the way, it could also condense a true spirit and become a powerful existence like the martial arts cultivators in the true spirit secret realm. Because of this, when core disciples ventured into the depths of the soaring snake abyss, every team would be led by someone from the true spirit secret realm to ensure maximum safety. I'll first go to the Sect Valley to cultivate for 3 days and strive to improve my strength. After that, I'll go visit Elder Yu and prepare to set off. Long Yu looked at the contents of the bamboo slip and saw that it was to depart for the depths of the soaring serpent abyss in 5 days. Having made up his mind, he quickly headed towards the Zhentian clan's Zhonggu. The Zhentian clan, the Zhonggu. This was the best place for disciples of the Zhentian clan to comprehend the heaven-suppressing will. It was the foundation of the entire Zhentian clan. This valley was originally the cultivation ground of the founder of the Zhentian clan. After achieving the heaven-suppressing law, he founded the Zhentian clan and developed it into one of the 7 major clans of the Tang Empire. The founder of the Zhentian clan had carved many calligraphy and paintings on the walls of the Zhonggu. Every stroke of the calligraphy and painting was connected to heaven and earth and contained an extremely profound suppressing will. If the disciples of the Zhentian clan cultivated in the Zhonggu, their comprehension of the heaven-suppressing law would be more than 10 times faster than in other places. However, the suppressing will in the Zhonggu could not allow too many people to cultivate at the same time. The entire Zhonggu could only accommodate at most 3 people cultivating at the same time before it reached a state of saturation. If one more person cultivated, the suppressing will contained within the Zhonggu would not be enough, and everyone's cultivation efficiency would be greatly reduced. Because of this, even the core disciples of the Zhentian clan were limited to 2 or 3 days if they wanted to cultivate in the Zhonggu. The higher one's ranking was, the more time they could cultivate in the Zhonggu every month. When Long Yu arrived at the Zhonggu, he discovered that it was a small valley. However, just the aura emanating from it made him understand that this was not a simple valley. There's already one person inside. Long Yu stood at the entrance of the Zonggu with the Qian dragon spear in hand. He saw that there was already someone cultivating in the Zonggu. However, if it was just one person, Long Yu could still enter and his cultivation efficiency would not be affected. The sign at the entrance of the Zonggu only stated that no more than 3 people could cultivate in the Zonggu at the same time. "Junior brother, wait up!" Just as Long Yu was about to step into the Zonggu, a young man's voice suddenly sounded from the side. Long Yu turned his head and saw a young man in a white robe walking out with his head held high. He could tell at a glance that this fellow was arrogant. "Junior brother, you want to enter the Zonggu, right? There's already someone cultivating in the Zonggu now. You should come back in 2 days." The white-robed young man looked at Long Yu disdainfully and said, "The Zonggu can accommodate 3 people to cultivate. There's only 1 person inside now. Why can't I enter?" Long Yu asked indifferently. "Do you know who's cultivating in the Zonggu now?" The white-robed young man held his head high and said, "It's senior brother Yen, who's ranked 7th among the core disciples. He's currently at a crucial stage of comprehending the power of heaven and earth and doesn't want to be disturbed by anyone." "So you're saying that you're Yan's lackey?" Long Yu chuckled softly. This Yan was really overbearing. He actually occupied the Zonggu, which could accommodate 3 people, and had his lackeys stop others from entering. How arrogant! "I advise you to watch your mouth." The white-robed young man's face darkened. "I saw that you're only in the 8th stage of the martial path, so I warned you out of goodwill. Now that you've spoken rudely to me, if I, Lu Shuqing, don't teach you a lesson, you won't know how to respect the strong." Long Yu glanced at him. Lu Shuqing? Soon, a name popped up in Long Yu's mind. This white-robed young man, Lu Shuqing, was ranked 21st among the core disciples. He had just stepped into the 9th stage of the martial path, and had been following Yen around to show off. Many disciples had been bullied by Lu Shuqing and Yen, but they had no way to redress their grievances. This was because Yan's master was the same as Luo Tailong, Elder Wu Jianxin, who was in charge of the distribution of rewards to the core disciples. An elder of the Zhentian clan could choose 2 disciples. Wu Jianxin's 2 disciples were Yen and Luo Tailong. Among them, Yen was ranked 7th among the core disciples, while Luo Tailong was ranked 6th. Their potential was limitless, and Wu Jianxin's words carried a lot more weight among the elders. Correspondingly, even Lu Shuqing, who had been following Yen around, felt that he was someone important. A fox assuming the might of a tiger. "You're quite good at it. However, in my eyes, Lu Shuqing, you're nothing more than a clown." Long Yu glanced at Lu Shuqing from the corner of his eyes. When the white-clothed youth, Lu Shuqing, heard this, his expression changed. Long Yu? Although he had never seen Long Yu before, he had heard of this name. Just yesterday, this Long Yu had defeated Meng Su and Hua Yiluan in the martial arts arena and secured his position as the 10th core disciple. Whether it was Meng Su or Hua Yiluan, they were much stronger than Lu Shuqing. This made Lu Shuqing's expression turn ugly. He took 2 steps back and stared at Long Yu nervously. "Anyway, I've already reminded you that even if you're Long Yu, you're not senior brother Yan's match. If you enter the sect valley and anger senior brother Yen, you'll have to bear the consequences yourself." Obviously, this Lu Shuqing was terrified when he heard Long Yu's name. Ha! Upon seeing this, Long Yu burst into laughter and walked into the sect valley with the Qian dragon spear in his hand. Against a lackey like Lu Shuqing who bullied the weak and feared the strong, there was no need for him to make a move. Just the mention of his name was enough to scare him off. This kind of person, no matter how high his cultivation was not worthy of Long Yu's attention. As for Yen, who had occupied the entire sect valley, Long Yu wanted to see how strong he was, and how he would compare to the 6th core disciple, Hua Yiluan. Long Yu scared Lu Shuqing off with a single sentence. He turned around and quickly entered the sect valley. As soon as he entered the sect valley, he felt the aura of the laws of heaven and earth descending from the sky, similar to the scene at the Sky Suppression Canyon. However, the pressure in the sect valley was much stronger than the Sky Suppression Canyon. Heavenly Meridian Link. Long Yu felt the heavenly meridian in his body being linked up with the aura of the laws of heaven and earth descending from the sect valley, allowing him to gain a deeper understanding of the laws of heaven and earth. Cultivating in this sect valley for 3 days will definitely be beneficial. At the very least, I can consolidate the force of heaven and earth and use it more skillfully. The suppressive aura will also be at least 30% stronger than it is now. At that time, I can try to cultivate the heaven suppression territory. Long Yu was shocked in his heart. Cultivating in the sect valley for 3 days was equivalent to cultivating in the outside world for a month. The effect was more than 10 times stronger. No wonder so many disciples of the Gentian clan desperately wanted to enter the ranks of the core disciples. As long as they entered the ranks of the core disciples, they would at least be able to cultivate in the sect valley for a day. Who dares disturb my cultivation? At this moment, a cold harumph came from the sect valley. Yen, who was occupying the sect valley, immediately stood up and glared at Long Yu when he sensed Long Yu entering the sect valley. Yen was wearing a grayish-white robe. He had a muscular body and looked like a rock. His eyes flickered with impatience like a vicious wolf, as he stared at Long Yu with an ominous glint. The sect valley can accommodate 3 people to cultivate. Don't you think it's too much for you to occupy it alone? Long Yu was not afraid at all as he stared at Yen and said calmly, "Too much, haha, too much." Yen burst out laughing, but there was a hidden murderous intent in his laughter. I, Yen, have been in the Gentian clan for so many years, but this is the first time I've heard someone say that I'm too much in front of me. You are very bold, but I don't know if your life is great or not. I feel that my life is more important than yours. Long Yu said calmly. This Yen was truly domineering to the extreme. He wanted to kill at the slightest disagreement, completely disregarding the sentiments of fellow disciples. I, Yen, will soon let you know that it's not up to you to decide if your life is great or not. Yen's body was like a rock as his eyes flickered with murderous intent. Chapter 75. While Yen was enraged, he had overlooked the most fundamental thing. If he had a strong will, how could a single person entering the sect and cultivating on their own affect him at all? Yen had been at the 9th level of the martial path for a long time, but he was unable to condense a true spirit. It was not because he lacked talent, but because his mind was not strong enough. When Yen's killing intent spread, Long Yu was naturally ready for battle. As he felt the suppressive aura descending from the sect, he gripped the Cosmos Dragon spear tightly and began to condense the power of heaven and earth. A mere 8th level martial path and dares to disrespect me, Yen? Die. Yen shouted and stomped his right foot on the ground, forming a boulder shield wall. High-grade martial technique, Imperial Boulder. At that moment, Yen used the Imperial Boulder martial technique not to defend but to attack. Immediately afterward, the boulder shield wall instantly transformed into hundreds of earth fists that shot toward Long Yu like a dense cannonball. Cosmos Dragon Spear, suppress. Long Yu held the spear in his hand and his steps were steady. He aimed at the hundreds of earth fists and thrust his spear forward. The powerful heaven-suppressing pressure suppressed all the earth fists in an instant, and then they were sent flying one by the tip of his spear. In just a moment, Yen's attack was completely ineffective. Power of heaven and earth. Yen felt the pressure from Long Yu's spear and his stone-like face changed slightly. You're Long Yu? That's me. Long Yu held his spear and stood as steady as Mount Tai. Haha, Long Yu, so it's you. No wonder you're so arrogant. Yen laughed loudly. You killed my junior brother Luo Tailong's adoptive father. Today, let me avenge my junior brother. Along with his wild laughter, a terrifying profound energy condensed on one of his legs. Following that, his entire body jumped up, and like a whirlwind, he kicked towards Long Yu. At the same time, a mournful whimpering sound came from his leg, as if the heavens were weeping. Transcendent rank martial skill, Heaven's Tears. As one of the 9 supreme martial skills of the Jintian clan, the Heaven's Cry was the most unique martial skill because it was not a specific skill. It was just a skill that could be used to summon the Heaven's Cry with one's own Xian Qi. After cultivating the Heaven's Cry, regardless of whether it was a punch or a kick, he could easily trigger the Heaven's Cry and produce an extremely strong explosive force when it struck his opponent. In fact, he could even use his battle weapon to trigger the Heaven's Cry. Regardless of whether it was a saber, a spear, a sword, or a halberd, he could use his Xian Qi to vibrate and trigger the Heaven's Cry. When he struck his enemy, the Heaven's Cry would explode. Yen was like a whirlwind as he kicked out horizontally. He actually let out a mournful woo-woo sound. It was obvious that he was using his profound energy to trigger the Heaven's Tears. Once his kick landed, it would cause a heaven-crying explosion. Long Yu wasn't sure how powerful it was, so he naturally wouldn't go head-on against it without any preparation. Blizzard Bind. Long Yu activated the blizzard boots on his feet. Instantly, a field of crushed ice and snow surged out from the boots and surged toward the whirlwind-like Yen. Yan's whirlwind-like figure was immediately obstructed by the ice and snow. In addition, there was a heaven-suppressing force in the valley, causing the momentum of his kick to be reduced to its weakest state. But now, when Long Yu stabbed out with his spear, he had integrated the force of heaven and earth into his body. His momentum had reached its peak. Qian Long's spear, suppress. The tip of Long Yu's spear moved and a wave of pressure swept out like a tornado, entangling with the flying kick of Yen. Heaven's Cry, explode. Yen yelled. Suddenly, a sound that sounded like the heavens weeping could be heard. A strong airflow erupted and pushed Long Yu back a few steps. The tip of the Qian Long spear in Long Yu's hand trembled violently. The force of the heaven-crying explosion actually resisted the force of heaven and earth and pushed Long Yu back. It was clear how powerful it was. You can't do it. Yen laughed loudly and followed up with another kick. At the same time, he used the world's end near at the same time, turning a foot into a foot and instantly appeared in front of Long Yu. The top-ranked core disciples had basically cultivated a supreme martial technique, the world's end near at the same time, because the effects of this martial technique were very good. For example, now that Yen suddenly appeared in front of Long Yu, he almost couldn't react. Demon subduing Vajra shield. Long Yu yelled and a layer of faint golden light appeared on the surface of his body, enveloping his entire body. Woo-woo. The sound of Heaven's Cry entered Long Yu's ears like a whirlwind. Then, he used his arms to block and was kicked by Yen heavily. A Heaven's Cry explosion exploded. Boom. In the loud noise, Long Yu took a few steps back again. However, the faint golden light on the surface of his body was still there, and he was not injured at all. The consummate realm of the demon-subduing tyrant body had outstanding defensive ability. Even in the face of Yan's supreme martial technique, the Heaven's Cry, it had enough power to resist. Your defense is not bad, but if that's all you have, how can you be a match for me? Yen yelled and took out a small crossbow from his waist. This scene made Long Yu's heart tremble. Heaven's Cry crossbow. Yen laughed loudly. Suddenly, the small crossbow condensed into arrows with celestial qi, forming a dense rain of arrows that shot toward Long Yu. With the power of the Heaven's Cry attached to the crossbow, at this moment, the entire Sect Valley was filled with endless woo-woo sounds, enveloping Long Yu. Heaven-suppressing power, condense! As Long Yu felt the heaven-suppressing power descending from the sky, the Heaven Dragon spear in his hand seemed to jump in sync with his heartbeat. A dragon's roar seemed to come from the Heaven Dragon spear, causing the blood in Long Yu's body to boil. Harmony! Holding the heaven dragon spear in his hand, Long Yu felt the spear tip beating in sync with his heartbeat. He immediately understood that at this moment, he and the heaven dragon spear in his hand had actually harmonized and formed a resonance. Heaven dragon spear, my father's weapon. Let me see how strong you are. With a loud shout, Long Yu raised the spear tip, bringing with it an extremely strong airflow. This airflow did not sweep the surroundings or rush toward his opponent. Instead, it wrapped around Long Yu's body, causing him to leap high into the sky. Heaven Dragon Leap. When Long Yu and the Heaven Dragon spear harmonized, he could instantly unleash an even greater power than the Heaven Dragon spear. This Heaven Dragon Leap was an ability derived from the Heaven Dragon spear. Using the spear tip to stir up the airflow, he leaped high into the sky. Then, like a heavenly dragon descending to the world, he smashed the spear into the ground. The Heaven's Cry crossbow bolts that were originally aimed at Long Yu all hit the walls of the Sect Valley, causing a series of terrifying Heaven's Cry explosions. If Long Yu had not dodged, even if he had cultivated the demon-subduing tyrant body to perfection, he would still have been killed in an instant. At this moment, Long Yu used the Heaven Dragon Leap and leaped high into the sky before the crossbow bolts arrived. This was completely out of Yi Yan's expectations. He had considered that Long Yu might use a movement technique to dodge in all directions, so the Heaven's Cry crossbow had already covered the entire Sect Valley. No matter where Long Yu dodged to, he would be surrounded by countless crossbow bolts. Even in midair, there were dozens of crossbow bolts shooting over. However, Yi Yan had not expected Long Yu to jump so high. The Heaven Dragon Leap leaped over 100 feet high. Immediately after, Long Yu slammed his spear down towards the ground, bringing with it a tyrannical pressure of the heaven and earth, as well as the original pressure of the Sect Valley. This spear was truly like a heavenly dragon descending to the world, smashing down towards where Yi Yan was at an extremely fast speed. Imperial Boulder. When Yi Yan sensed the power contained in Long Yu's spear, his expression involuntarily changed. With a wave of his hand, he instantly condensed a boulder shield wall. High-grade defensive martial technique, Imperial Boulder, outstanding defensive capabilities. However, Long Yu's spear carried the momentum and crashed down. He actually relied on the pressure of the momentum to shatter the boulder shield wall condensed by Yi Yan. Immediately following that was a loud boom. A cloud of dust flew up in the Sect Valley. A figure dressed in grayish-white, resembling a rock, was sent flying by the violent air currents, falling heavily out of the boundaries of the Sect Valley. It was precisely Yi Yan. Under this Heaven Dragon Leap from Long Yu, even someone as strong as the number 7 core disciple, Yi Yan, was sent flying, rolling several hundred feet away. Senior Apprentice Brother Yi. Originally, Lu Shuqing, who was standing outside the Sect Valley, wanted to see Long Yu being sent flying, but he did not expect that the one who was sent flying was actually Yi Yan. He ran to Yi Yan's side in a few steps and saw that Yi Yan had actually fainted, knocked out by the violent momentum. Long Yu, how dare you, to actually attack and injure someone in order to snatch the cultivation spot of the Sect Valley. I will report this to the Elder Cabinet and ask the Elder to make a decision. Lu Shuqing shouted sternly, then carried Yi Yan with one hand and left the Sect Valley as if he was fleeing, quickly disappearing without a trace. He was afraid that Long Yu would make a move on him, but he did not know that Long Yu did not take him seriously at all. Ask the Sect Elders to make a decision? A cold glint flashed across Long Yu's eyes. If that Wu Jianxin really inverted right and wrong and wanted to convict him based on this, then Long Yu would have to question him. Could it be that this Sect Valley could only be used by one person to cultivate? Yi Yan had occupied the Sect Valley to cultivate, and he, Long Yu, had merely said too much, and Yi Yan had wanted to kill him. Could it be that he, Long Yu, was not allowed to resist? Preposterous. Long Yu did not think too much about it. He lowered his head and looked at the heaven dragon spear, carefully feeling the resonance between it and his bloodline. The heaven dragon spear, after resonance, can perform the heaven dragon leap, which can leap several hundred feet. Not only can it be used against enemies, but it can also be used to chase and escape. It is a divine skill. The blood in Long Yu's body was boiling, and he was still in a state of resonance with the heaven dragon spear. He could not help but want to know what level the heaven dragon spear was. However, he might only know the answer when he stepped into the true spirit realm. In the Sect Valley, the heaven-suppressing pressure is constantly descending. Comprehending the heaven-suppressing concept here will be twice the result with half the effort. When the surroundings quieted down, Long Yu began to comprehend the heaven-suppressing concept in the Sect Valley. Originally, he had only comprehended the heaven-suppressing force of heaven and earth. Now was the perfect time to consolidate it. Chapter 76. As expected, that Yen was chased away by Long Yu. This is so satisfying. However, senior brother Long Yu chased away Yen. I'm afraid there will be a lot of trouble. I feel that since senior brother Long Yu dared to make a move, he must have made preparations. Why should we worry blindly? That's right. Speaking of which, I can finally enter the Sect Valley to cultivate. I feel that I only need one more day to truly comprehend the heaven-suppressing intent realm. Junior brother, go ahead and cultivate first. We will come again tomorrow at this time. Congratulations on comprehending the intent realm in advance. Amidst the discussions, 2 core disciples who were ranked at the bottom of the rankings walked into the Sect Valley to cultivate and comprehend together with Long Yu. The 2 looked at Long Yu with admiration and gratitude. If it wasn't for Long Yu chasing away Yen, they would have to wait another 5 days before they could enter the Sect Valley. 5 days was extremely precious to any martial cultivator. They were naturally grateful to Long Yu. However, Long Yu did not pay attention to them at all. Currently, apart from a trace of vigilance, Long Yu was fully focused on comprehending the suppression law of heaven and earth. Suppression is a law that originally exists between heaven and earth. The heaven-suppressing art teaches martial cultivators to sense the existence of the suppression law of heaven and earth through the circulation of celestial qi. Even without cultivating the heaven-suppressing art, if one can sense the suppression law of heaven and earth through the veins of the sky, one can also comprehend the suppression intent realm and even the law. However, the power of a single law is rare. If one doesn't cultivate the heaven-suppressing art, it is extremely difficult for anyone to sense the existence of the suppression law. To put it simply, cultivating the heaven-suppressing art is not necessary to comprehend the suppression law. However, it allows one to feel the suppression intent realm more easily. And cultivating in the Sect Valley will expand the amount of the suppression law between heaven and earth. The Sect Valley is filled with the suppression law. Martial cultivators who come here to cultivate can, of course, comprehend the suppression intent realm faster. Since Long Yu started cultivating until now, he had already comprehended the grand momentum of suppressing the heavens and the earth, so he naturally understood the principle behind it clearly. Aside from the law of suppression, for example, the law of ice recorded in the mental cultivation method of the Ice Sect was actually the same. It was just that by cultivating the mental cultivation method, it would be easier to comprehend the laws of the world. But from this, he had a question. Since it was extremely difficult to sense the laws of heaven and earth without cultivating a mental cultivation technique, then how did the creator of the mental cultivation technique, such as the founder of the Zhentian clan, sense the laws of suppression and create the heaven suppression formula? Or perhaps, even the founder of the Zhentian clan had first created the heaven-suppressing chant before comprehending the heaven-suppressing law? Perhaps no one in the entire Zhentian clan could answer this question, because that era was too long ago. At this time, Long Yu could only rely on the heaven suppression art to sense the suppression laws, and in the Sect Valley, the sensing speed was even faster. During these 3 days, the people who came to cultivate in the Sect Valley changed again and again, but Long Yu didn't pay any attention to them. On the other hand, Wu Jianxin didn't cause trouble for him during these 3 days. Perhaps he felt that he would soon set off for the depths of the soaring snake abyss, and there would be plenty of opportunities to kill Long Yu, so there was no need for him to do anything unnecessary. When the 3 days were up, Long Yu's core disciple identity token started to tremble, reminding him that time was up and it was time to leave and make way for other disciples of the sect. Long Yu stood up, grasped the Heaven Dragon Spear, and strode out of the Sect Valley under the admiring gazes of several Jintian clan core disciples. With the Heaven Dragon Spear in hand, I'll cultivate the heaven-suppressing spear art. After these 3 days of comprehension, I've finally completely consolidated the heaven-suppressing momentum, and the strength of the pressure has increased by at least 30%. After leaving the Sect Valley, Long Yu headed for the Elder Cabinet, his eyes shining brightly. At the same time, the consolidation of the heaven-suppressing momentum has actually led to the improvement of my heaven-suppressing spear art, allowing me to comprehend the greater success stage of the heaven-suppressing spear art. At the greater success stage of the heaven-suppressing spear art, he could thrust out dozens of spear strikes at an extremely fast speed. The spear shadows were everywhere, and every spear strike would be infused with the heaven-suppressing momentum, giving it unparalleled power. If the heaven-suppressing momentum that Long Yu infused with his full-strength spear strike had the strength of 400 to 500 fierce horses, the power of the spear shadows would definitely exceed the strength of 1,000 fierce horses. The strength of 1,000 fierce horses was the basic strength of an expert who had just stepped into the true spirit realm. At the 8th stage of the martial path, I can execute a martial skill with the strength of 1,000 fierce horses, which is 4 to 5 times stronger than the basic strength. This shows how powerful the heaven-suppressing spear art is when infused with the heaven-suppressing momentum. As Long Yu ran, he was filled with heroic spirit. He turned into a ghost and disappeared into the forest. His illusory figure quickly moved through the forest. Soon, he found a rather hidden place. He took out the high-grade pill, the wind-parting pill, and swallowed it in one gulp. For a martial cultivator at the 8th stage of the martial Tao, a high-grade pill could only increase their strength by a hair from 9 oxen. However, it was better than nothing. Furthermore, with the 9 underworld dragon seal, Long Yu could completely absorb the medicinal power of any pill. To Long Yu, a high-grade pill was equivalent to 3 pills. In the evening, Long Yu stored all the spirit energy of the wind-parting pill into the 9 underworld dragon seal. Only then did he open his eyes, stand up, and continue towards his destination. The place he wanted to go was the bamboo forest where the Elder Cabinet was located. It was several mountains away from the Sect Valley. Because of this, he took the time to absorb the wind-parting pill on the way. And the reason he wanted to go to the bamboo forest was naturally to visit the injured Yu Shuiyun, Elder Yu. Elder Yu was currently recuperating in the residence of the Elder Cabinet. There were many elders taking turns to take care of him. Of course, the most important person was Elder Yu's own disciple. Normally, Elder Yu would give his disciple more cultivation resources. Now that he was injured and unconscious, his disciple would naturally take care of him. There's killing intent? The moment Long Yu stepped into the bamboo forest, he felt a faint killing intent permeating the entire bamboo forest. It immediately made him vigilant. Long Yu was extremely sensitive to killing intent. He immediately turned into a ghost and turned illusory. Borrowing the shadow of the setting sun, he instantly disappeared into the bamboo forest. If one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't be able to see Long Yu's figure. Long Yu's first reaction was that someone was ambushing him here. However, he soon realized that this wasn't the case. Swish, swish, swish. 3 black shadows shuttled through the bamboo forest and quietly made their way towards the house where Elder Yu was at. Attack! A fierce shout filled the air with killing intent. The 3 shadows each held a broken black saber in their hands. Condensing profound chi, 3 sharp saber lights swept out and slashed towards the bamboo house where Elder Yu was. Want to kill Elder Yu? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. At this moment, he had no choice but to step forward, because he saw from afar that Elder Yu was the only one in the bamboo house. He was draped in a black robe and lying on the bamboo bed. There was no one else there. If Long Yu didn't make a move, Elder Yu would definitely be killed by the 3 shadows' saber lights. The sun is setting. This is the time to eat. The disciple taking care of Elder Yu has probably left to eat. These 3 shadows actually chose this time to make a move. They must have been observing nearby for a long time. Long Yu thought as he brandished the Cosmos Dragon spear in his hand. Cosmos Dragon leaping. Apart from using the Cosmos Dragon leaping technique, there was no other way to cover a distance of several dozen feet. The heaven-suppressing force instantly gathered at the tip of the Cosmos Dragon spear. Then, with a sweep, a gust of air instantly swept up Long Yu and leaped towards the path of the 3 saber lights. The heaven-suppressing force descended. With the Cosmos Dragon spear in hand, Long Yu was like a heavenly dragon descending to earth. "Break for me!" Long Yu shouted. The force enveloped and trembled, instantly shattering one of the saber lights. Then, the tip of the spear stabbed the other saber light, and the ferocious pressure crushed it into pieces. The pressure descended, and Long Yu instantly swept away the 2 saber lights. However, when he stabbed the last saber light with his spear, he felt a burst of terrifying power rebound from the saber light, penetrating into his internal organs in an instant. Even though Long Yu had cultivated the demon-subduing tyrant body to perfection, the rebound force still damaged his internal organs, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Bang! Long Yu descended from the sky and barely managed to stand on the ground, his eyebrows knitted together. Among the 3 black figures, one of them was an expert above the true spirit realm, and the rebound force from the last saber light had seriously injured Long Yu. Boom! With a loud bang, the bamboo house where Elder Yu was located behind Long Yu was struck by the saber light and immediately collapsed. Fortunately, Long Yu's spear had stabbed into the saber light, causing the saber light to deviate slightly. It didn't hit Elder Yu's body, saving his life. At this time, Elder Yu had not woken up, and if not for Long Yu, he would have been dead. Who is it that wants to kill Elder Yu? Long Yu turned around and looked at the 3 black shadows, only to see that the 3 black shadows had already disappeared. They had actually disappeared into the bamboo forest. Under the cover of the rumbling sound of the bamboo house collapsing, the 3 black figures took the opportunity to hide themselves, causing Long Yu to be unable to sense their auras at all. Only a faint killing intent spread out in the bamboo forest, letting Long Yu know that they had not left yet. Bang! Suddenly, the sound of a saber breaking came from behind Long Yu, and a terrifying pressure enveloped him. A saber light swept towards his back. With Long Yu's current strength of the 8th stage martial path, he could not block it, nor could he dodge it. Broken Saber True Spirit, Broken Saber Sect, ha ha ha, it really is you guys. At this time, an arrogant laughter came from the side, and Long Yu immediately recognized that it was coming on foot. An arrogant eagle's cry descended from the sky. Immediately after, Long Yu turned his head to look, only to see a phantom of a heavenly eagle, instantly blocking the saber light for him, and then actually fighting with the phantom of a broken saber. Broken Saber Sect? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He knew that the Broken Saber Sect was the same as the Zhentian clan, one of the 7 major sects of the Tang Empire. Chapter 77. At the critical moment when Elder Yu and Long Yu were in danger, the number 1 core disciple of the Zhentian clan had summoned the Heavenly Eagle True Spirit to save them from the danger. However, The heavenly eagle true spirit and the heaven-suppressing aura were unable to break through the opponent's broken saber shadow, which showed that the opponent's martial Dao realm was extremely high. It's on foot. Let's go first. A cold snort came from the darkness. Then, 3 shadows reappeared in front of Long Yu and fled in 3 different directions out of the bamboo forest. Even if you stop us this time, we still have another one. Old Yu, you won't be able to escape death. 3 voices came from 3 different directions. Junior brother, take care of Elder Yu, I'll catch up to them. On foot, there was no time to talk to Long Yu. With a move of his feet, he instantly moved and chased after the black shadows in the true spirit realm. Long Yu nodded his head and walked quickly to Elder Yu in the bamboo house with the Qian long spear in his hand. Although he had been injured by the broken saber sex true spirit realm expert, he had the demon-vanquishing tyrant body to protect his body. He should be fine after resting for a while. However, he had no time to rest now. Elder Yu. Long Yu entered the collapsed bamboo house and found Yu Shuiyun's black-robed figure. He carried her on his back and left the collapsed bamboo house. This scene was witnessed by a few people who came over after hearing the news. Who dares to touch my master? A violent roar instantly entered Long Yu's ears. Then, a few figures rushed over and surrounded Long Yu. Long Yu raised his head and saw a few disciples of the Zhentian clan surrounding him with unfriendly expressions. One of them was a black-faced young man with a sturdy build. He was the one who had just shouted. He should be Yu Shuiyun's disciple, Lu Guanming. A total of 5 people should have heard the commotion here, so they quickly rushed over. In the end, they just happened to see Long Yu carrying Elder Yu's body out from the collapsed bamboo house. Subconsciously, they thought that it was Long Yu who had caused the bamboo house to collapse in order to hurt Elder Yu. He's Long Yu. I've seen him in the arena. One of them pointed at Long Yu and said while keeping an eye on Long Yu's escape. Long Yu. The hearts of the other 4 instantly went cold, and Yu Shuiyun's disciple, Lu Guanming, shouted, "So it's Long Yu, you scoundrel. My master was injured because he was protecting you, and now you're biting the hand that fed you and plotting against my master. You're worse than a beast." Senior brothers, don't be rash. Long Yu slightly frowned. While guarding against the other party's attack, he explained, "Originally, I wanted to visit Elder Yu, but when I came to the bamboo forest, I happened to see 3 assassins from the Broken Blade sect trying to assassinate Elder Yu. This bamboo house was destroyed by the Broken Blade sect's assassins with their saber light." "Nonsense." One of the young men's eyes flashed with ridicule, and he sharply said, "Broken Blade sect's assassins? Then tell me, where are the Broken Blade sect's assassins now?" Senior brother Bu arrived in time and has already chased after them. Long Yu lightly said. Senior brother Bu? The 5 people were stunned when they heard this, but they immediately reacted. On foot. Senior brother Bu has arrived? However, Long Yu's words had no proof, so the 5 people naturally did not believe him. Don't listen to his nonsense, let's not let him escape. As the other person spoke, he took out a long sword combat weapon and glared at Long Yu like a tiger watching its prey. Long Yu, why aren't you putting my master down? The black-faced Lu Guanming held a large hammer battle weapon in his hand. His face was filled with hatred as he stared at Long Yu. He violently shouted, "If anything happens to my master, I will make you pay the price even if I have to risk my life." Lu Guanming was only ranked 35th among the core disciples. As for the others, they were not much weaker than Lu Guanming, and they were all in the 8th stage of the martial path. Even if they joined forces, they might not be a match for Long Yu. The 5 of them were well aware of this. After all, the news of Long Yu defeating Hua Yiluan, who was originally ranked 6th among the core disciples, had already spread throughout the Zhentian clan. However, even if they could not win, they could not let Long Yu leave. "It's up to you whether you believe me or not." Long Yu calmly observed his surroundings and said calmly, "All we need to do is wait here. Once Senior Brother Bu returns, the truth will be revealed. As for handing over the unconscious Yu Shuiyun, Long Yu would not do such a stupid thing. Although he could tell that the black-faced Lu Guanming was really thinking about Yu Shuiyun and worried about his master's safety, it was hard to say what the other four were thinking. If Long Yu handed over Yu Shuiyun and the other four did something to her, it would become an excuse for them to attack Long Yu. If anything happened to Yu Shuiyun, even if he returned on foot, he would not be able to clear Long Yu's name. Therefore, what Long Yu needed to do now was to protect Yu Shuiyun and wait for him to return on foot. With so many Zhentian clan disciples present, the two assassins from the Broken Blade sect naturally would not appear again. Instead, it was Long Yu who had to be on guard against a sudden attack from his own people. It was a little ridiculous to say it, but Long Yu also knew that under these circumstances, it was impossible for him to convince Lu Guanming and the others to believe the truth. What's going on here? Suddenly, a stern reprimand came from the bamboo forest's entrance. Lu Guanming and the other four, including Long Yu, looked in the direction of the voice and saw a short, black-faced, brawny man with thick arms. It was Elder Wu Jianxin, the person who distributed the rewards to the core disciples. Although Wu Jianxin had a sturdy body, he was quite short and looked like a black charcoal. He came from the edge of the bamboo forest with a fierce look in his eyes as he looked at Long Yu. When he saw Long Yu carrying Yu Shuiyun on his back, a fierce glint flashed across Wu Jianxin's eyes, but it quickly returned to normal as if nothing had happened. However, that ominous glint was captured by Long Yu's sharp senses. What exactly is this Wu Jianxin up to? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He instantly realized that Wu Jianxin must have done something behind the scenes. However, it was impossible for Long Yu to say it out loud. After all, it was only his speculation, and he had no evidence to prove it. He had no idea what Wu Jianxin had done. As Wu Jianxin approached, his body emitted the aura of the heavens and earth, which enveloped everyone. With Yu Shuiyun on his back, Long Yu could clearly feel that Wu Jianxin's target was him. As an elder, Wu Jianxin had used the aura of the heavens and earth of a true spirit mystical ground expert on him. Following behind Wu Jianxin were two other elders. However, Long Yu did not recognize these two elders. He had only taken a glance at them the first time he had come to the elders' pavilion. Among the three elders, Wu Jianxin had already unleashed the aura of the heavens and earth to suppress Long Yu. Currently, Long Yu could not even move an inch. His face was covered in sweat, and he could only grit his teeth to stabilize Yu Shuiyun on his back. Long Yu, as a disciple of the Zhentian clan, you tried to harm an elder who saved you. This crime is enough for you to die 10,000 times. Wu Jianxin said coldly as he stood 10 zhang away from Long Yu. If you want to pin a crime on someone, you can always find a pretext. Long Yu clenched his teeth and unleashed the aura of the heavens and earth to resist Wu Jianxin's aura. He raised his head stubbornly and said with difficulty, I only stopped the assassins from the Broken Blade sect and protected Elder Yu. Senior Brother Bu will know what happened when he returns. You still dare to argue? Wu Jianxin shouted, if you confess to your crimes now, I can give you a lenient punishment. Your cultivation will be crippled, and you can leave the Zhentian clan. If you refuse to admit your crimes, I, Wu Jianxin, as an elder of the Zhentian clan, can only kill you on the spot as a warning to others. Ha ha. Long Yu laughed with difficulty. If you don't dare to wait for Senior Brother Bu's return, then you have a guilty conscience. I, Wu Jianxin, am an elder. Do I need you to teach me how to do things? Wu Jianxin harumphed coldly and took a step forward, causing Long Yu to suffer an even stronger aura of the heavens and earth. As a result, Long Yu could not even speak. Footsteps sounded from outside the bamboo forest. More and more Zhentian clan disciples rushed over after hearing the news. There were more than 100 of them. Among them was Yi Yan's follower, Lu Shuqing, who had been scared away by Long Yu. He had a smug look on his face as he led a group of people forward. "Everyone, look! That's Long Yu! How dare he try to kill Elder Yu who saved his life? He's worse than a beast." Lu Shuqing pointed at Long Yu, his words filled with disdain and disdain. It was as if he was showing off to Long Yu. After hearing Lu Shuqing's words, the dozens of Zhentian clan disciples pointed at Long Yu and discussed among themselves. They were obviously accusing Long Yu of being such an ungrateful and despicable person. People who did not know the truth were easily misled by rumors, especially when they saw Long Yu standing in front of the collapsed bamboo house with Elder Yu on his back. "Now I, Wu Jianxin, am going to execute the Elder's accusation and kill this disgraceful Long Yu." Wu Jianxin took another step forward and looked around before he shouted, "Who has any objections? Step forward now. Kill him! Kill him!" Every disciple of the heaven-suppressing sect present on the scene shouted out, as they looked at Long Yu with disdain in their eyes. Long Yu, who had done such a disgraceful and ungrateful thing, would be despised by everyone. "If that's the case, I'll do it now." Wu Jianxin harumphed coldly as he looked at Long Yu and stepped forward. As Wu Jianxin moved forward, Long Yu felt the pressure of the heaven and earth on him becoming stronger. He had no way of fighting back against an elder who had been in the true spirit realm for many years. He's walking, and there's no sign of him coming back. The only thing I can do now is— Long Yu's heart was pounding. Even his dantian began to beat rapidly, allowing the qi in his body to circulate. His suppressed body, under the powerful throbbing of his dantian and driven by the profound qi, finally had the strength to move a little. "I can only move a little. I can't miss this opportunity." Long Yu made up his mind and held the Qianlong spear tightly. Puff! Chapter 78. Long Yu's actions caused everyone in the surroundings to be stunned for a moment. Did Long Yu commit suicide because he couldn't withstand Elder Wu Jianxin's aura? However, Long Yu's chest was bleeding profusely from the spear strike. The blood was accompanied by black ripples, which was eerie and creepy. Wu Jianxin, who was initially walking forward, came to a stop with a frown. The blood flowing out of Long Yu's chest struck fear into Wu Jianxin's heart. The black ripples seemed to have come from the 9 hells and were terrifying. "It's up to you whether I live or die." Long Yu used all the strength in his body to finally be able to make such a move. He stabbed the tip of the Heaven Dragon spear into the 9 underworld's dragon mark on his chest. Last time, when the dragon seal of the 9 hells was hit by the wind and cloud palm, it emitted the netherworld qi and hurt the wind and cloud. Now that Long Yu had pierced the dragon seal of the 9 hells into his chest and penetrated it, what would happen to the dragon seal of the 9 hells? As the black ripples flowed out, the tip of the Heaven Dragon spear was dyed black. Then, the entire Heaven Dragon spear was covered with a creepy black aura. A gust of the netherworld qi instantly spread in all directions. The aura, which seemed to come from the yellow springs, enveloped the entire bamboo forest and seeped into everyone's body. Everyone, including Wu Jianxin, felt a bone-piercing chill that almost froze them on the spot. The blood and celestial qi in their bodies instantly slowed down. They stared at the scene and the black blood flowing out of Long Yu's chest. No one knew what was going on, but they were sure that Long Yu was extremely strange. In just a short while, a layer of faint black frost had formed on the surface of everyone's body, causing their movements to become stiff. As Wu Jianxin was enveloped by the netherworld qi, the power of heaven and earth that had been suppressing Long Yu disappeared, allowing Long Yu to relax instantly. Has he been frozen by the netherworld qi? Enduring the sharp pain in his chest, Long Yu raised his head and looked around. Then, he was about to seize the opportunity to leave. Now, there was no time to lose. No one knew how long the netherworld qi that seeped out from the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds would freeze the surrounding people. This was especially true for Wu Jianxin. His martial arts realm was extremely high, and he would probably recover soon. He pulled out the heaven dragon spear that had been dyed black with one hand and carried the unconscious Yu Shuiyun with the other. He stood up and dashed toward the bamboo forest to relieve himself. Wu Jianxin was obviously infuriated by his escape, and his eyes almost popped out of their sockets. However, everyone present was enveloped by the aura of the netherworld. They were frozen, and even their heartbeats almost stopped. No one could stop Long Yu from leaving. Fortunately, after the netherworld qi gushed out from Long Yu's chest, it started to dissipate. Wu Jianxin could feel that after a short while, the strange aura that froze him would disappear and completely blend into the world. However, in this short period of time, he could only watch as Long Yu escaped with Yu Shuiyun. Soon after, Long Yu and Yu Shuiyun disappeared from everyone's sight. The bamboo forest was left with an eerie and desolate aura, causing everyone to shiver. After half an hour, Wu Jianxin gradually returned to normal. The eerie netherworld qi gradually merged with the heaven and earth. With his martial Dao realm, he was finally able to expel the netherworld qi that had invaded his body. Humph! He snorted coldly with a dark expression and looked around. When he saw that the disciples of the Zhentian clan were still unconscious, his expression darkened even more. Elders, I'll have to trouble the two of you to stay here and pacify the disciples. Furthermore, you have to publicize Long Yu's evil deeds to the public. Wu Jianxin said to the two elders beside him who were on the verge of fully recovering, I, Wu Jianxin, will definitely capture Long Yu today. As soon as he finished speaking, he took a step forward and chased after Long Yu. It seemed like Long Yu was escaping in the direction of the Suppression Canyon to leave the Zhentian clan. Wu Jianxin naturally chased after him in that direction. However, he did not know that he was chasing in the wrong direction. At this moment, Long Yu was running in the opposite direction toward the soaring serpent abyss. This meant that Wu Jianxin would not be able to catch up to Long Yu today. An hour was more than enough for Long Yu to run hundreds of miles away. Even Wu Jianxin, who had already entered the true spirit realm, would not be able to catch up to Long Yu. After leaving the bamboo forest with Yu Shuiyun, Long Yu quickly came up with a follow-up plan. Of course, he did not want to be a fugitive. Since Wu Jianxin wanted to harm him, he would return the favor and let Wu Jianxin have a taste of his own medicine. This Wu Jianxin didn't dare to wait for me to return on foot before rushing to kill me. He must have some ulterior motives. Long Yu thought to himself, if Elder Yu wakes up, I might be able to find out a thing or two. At this moment, Long Yu's destination was the depths of the soaring serpent abyss. The people from the Broken Saber sect wanted Yu Shuiyun's life, and this Wu Jianxin also had ulterior motive. Long Yu would definitely dig out all these secrets and seek justice for himself. In particular, Wu Jianxin had arranged for Long Yu, Tan Wuchuan, and Luo Tailong to gather medicinal herbs. It was obvious that he wanted Long Yu's life. Since you want my life, I would like to see what kind of shameful things you, a dignified elder of the Zhentian clan, have done. Long Yu thought to himself. If he wanted to accomplish all this, he would, of course, have to wake Yu Shuiyun up first. Treating Yu Shuiyun required 3 kinds of medicinal herbs: dragon head grass, flowerless acorns, and sweet tulip flowers. Among them, the flowerless acorns could nourish the meridians. Even if the meridians were damaged, the flowerless acorns could be used to recover. The sweet tulip flowers could strengthen the regeneration ability of the Dantian. As long as the Dantian was not completely destroyed, it could be used to recover. These 2 medicinal herbs were extremely valuable. Within 1,000 li, they could only be found in the depths of the soaring serpent abyss. As for the dragon head grass, it was used to refresh the mind and allow Yu Shuiyun to regain his consciousness. Only by combining the 3 could Yu Shuiyun's injuries be treated. Or rather, the poison that he had been inflicted with. Now that Long Yu was carrying Yu Shuiyun on his back, he could clearly feel that Yu Shuiyun was not simply injured. He had been inflicted with a deadly poison, causing him to fall into a state of hibernation. Furthermore, his meridians and dantian were surrounded by the poison. However, the poison was still in its incubation period and had yet to erupt. Once it did, Yu Shuiyun would be beyond saving. No wonder he needed the dragon headgrass, the flowerless acorns, and the sweet tulip flowers. The combination of these 3 medicinal herbs is just enough to cure Elder Yu's poison. Long Yu's eyes shone brightly. Since that's the case, I'll head into the depths of the soaring serpent abyss first and search for these 3 medicinal herbs by myself. As he continued to run, he soon entered a shadowy forest and disappeared into the shadows. The dense forest in the shadows was already within the boundaries of the soaring serpent abyss. Long Yu carried Yu Shuiyun forward quickly. With his proficient skills and rich experience, it was very easy for him to avoid being hunted down in such a shadowy forest. As he ran, the Cosmos Dragon spear in his hand became hotter and hotter. It emitted waves of gloomy black light, as if it had become a long spear that had emerged from the depths of hell. The Cosmos Dragon spear was dyed in blood, and it actually underwent some kind of strange transformation. However, Long Yu did not know whether this transformation was good or bad. No, it's too hot. I need to find a place to rest first. Long Yu felt the temperature of the Cosmos Dragon spear in his hand. It was actually so hot that he almost could not hold it anymore. He looked around and quickly found a small cave. He brought Yu Shuiyun into it, and then moved a huge boulder over with great force. He completely blocked the entrance of the cave, leaving only a small gap for ventilation. Immediately after, he leaned Yu Shuiyun against the stone wall of the cave and let him rest. Meanwhile, he placed the Cosmos Dragon spear on the ground and carefully observed its changes. The Cosmos Dragon spear is dyed in blood. I wonder what kind of transformation it will undergo. Long Yu frowned slightly. In the dark cave, he could see that the surface of the Cosmos Dragon spear was dyed in blood. It was emitting a dark glow and appeared extremely strange. Under the influence of Long Yu's blood and the aura of the depths of hell, the Cosmos Dragon spear was currently undergoing a double transformation. Clang! 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 A series of metallic vibrations came from the Cosmos Dragon spear, causing the dark glow on the surface of the Cosmos Dragon spear to gradually subside. Lines of black veined patterns were actually imprinted on the Cosmos Dragon spear just like that. The tip of the spear turned pitch black. The shaft of the spear was engraved with lines of black veined patterns. This Cosmos Dragon spear has actually become a bit like the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds. Long Yu sensed the faint aura of the depths of hell emanating from the Cosmos Dragon spear, causing him to feel slightly expectant. It seemed that the might of the Cosmos Dragon spear had increased. He held it in his hand and finally didn't feel as if it was scalding hot. A wave of aura of the depths of hell immediately wrapped around his entire body from the spear handle. Combined with the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds, this wave of aura of the depths of hell made Long Yu feel refreshed. Its might has indeed increased. A bright light flashed in Long Yu's eyes. Immediately after, he channeled the profound energy in his body into the Cosmos Dragon spear, instantly activating the black veined patterns that had appeared on the surface of the Cosmos Dragon spear. Layers of spear shadows. With a stern shout, Long Yu wielded the spear and instantly stabbed the ground of the cave several dozen times. A terrifying momentum that could suppress the heavens, accompanied by the strange aura of the depths of hell, surged out from the tip of the spear and instantly blasted a 10 feet deep pit into the ground of the cave. It actually has the strength of 1,500 fierce horses. A look of pleasant surprise appeared on Long Yu's face. Originally, if he used the Cosmos Dragon spear in conjunction with the momentum of heaven and earth to unleash the layers of spear shadows, he would at most have the strength of 1,000 fierce horses. But now, after the Cosmos Dragon spear had been dyed in blood and transformed, The final might of his spear technique had suddenly increased by more than 50%. From now on, I'll call you the Nine Underworlds Dragon Spear. Long Yu gripped the spear tightly and waved it a few times. He discovered that he could also choose whether or not to activate the black veined patterns on the Nine Underworlds Dragon Spear. If he activated it when he used his spear technique, it would be imbued with the aura of the depths of hell, increasing the final might of his spear technique by 50%. If he didn't activate the black veined patterns, the might of the Nine Underworlds Dragon Spear would be exactly the same as the original Cosmos Dragon Spear. It's just that this spear has an additional activation function, just like the Dragon Seal of the Nine Underworlds. Chapter 79. Following this dragon roar, Long Yu's heart suddenly jumped. This is resonance? No, I feel that this Nine Nether Dragon Spear seems to be able to sense my thoughts. Long Yu's eyes lit up. Could it be that his compatibility with the Nine Nether Dragon Spear had increased by another level? Swish, swish. Long Yu waved the spear in his hand twice, and immediately felt that the Nine Nether Dragon Spear was even more in line with his intentions. As long Yu willed it, the Nine Nether Dragon Spear would be able to understand his intentions. Whether it was activating the 9 nether lines on the spear shaft or using profound chi to unleash the heaven-suppressing spear technique, the speed would become extremely fast. If Long Yu originally needed a breath of time to unleash the spear shadows, then it could be said that he didn't need any time at all. With a single thought, layers of spear shadows would attack. The compatibility of the war weapon, other than the resonance stage at the beginning, is the spirit communication stage. Long Yu remembered what Old Bai had said before. After reaching the spirit communication stage, the war weapon and the master's thoughts will be completely compatible. With just a thought, the master will be able to use the war weapon to unleash a martial skill at an extremely fast speed. And this is not the most important change after reaching the spirit communication stage. The most important thing is that if the master and the war weapon are connected, as long as they inject profound chi into the war weapon, they will be able to control the war weapon from a distance. Simply put, once the master and the war weapon were connected, then in theory, they would be able to kill people from 1,000 miles away. Of course, this was only in theory. In reality, controlling the war weapon from a distance consumed a lot of profound chi. Unless it was a critical moment, no one would let the war weapon leave their hands. Reverse scale touch, 9 nether dragon spear, what are you trying to tell me? Long Yu seemed to have heard the voice coming from the 9 nether dragon spear. The 3 words, reverse scale touch, made him slightly puzzled. However, after carefully sensing the will of the 9 nether dragon spear, his eyes lit up. The dragon has a reverse scale. Touching it means death. I am the 9 nether dragon spear's reverse scale. Once I communicate with the 9 nether dragon spear, I will be able to use the reverse scale touch martial skill. As long as the 9U dragon spear was stained with Long Yu's blood, it would be able to unleash this spiritual communication martial skill. Its power was even stronger than the layers of spear shadows that he had comprehended from the heaven-suppressing spear technique. Let me see how powerful this reverse scale tentacle is. Long Yu raised his hand and bit a small wound on his finger. Then, he threw it at the 9 nether dragon spear. A dragon's cry that seemed to come from the 9 underworlds came from the 9 underworld dragon spear. The 9 underworlds runes on the spear were activated and merged with Long Yu's worldly power. The spear stabbed towards the cave. Touch of reverse scale. A dragon has a reverse scale. Touching it means death. With a loud bang, Long Yu stabbed down with his spear, and on top of the previous 10 feet deep pit, another 20 feet deep pit was created. The strength of 1,800 horses. Long Yu's face revealed a happy expression. Touch of reverse scale. This martial skill that was created from the 9 nether dragon spears' spiritual communication martial skill was indeed stronger than the layers of spear shadows. Moreover, this was not the strongest power of the touch of reverse scale. If Long Yu did not throw out blood himself, but was injured by an enemy, then the power of the touch of reverse scale would be even stronger. He could not stay in this small cave for the time being. After all, Long Yu had caused too much of a commotion, so it was not suitable to stay. Long Yu held the 9 nether dragon spear and left the cave with Yu Shuiyun's unconscious body. He continued to head towards the depths of the soaring serpent abyss. Thinking back to when Long Yu had just stepped onto the martial path, he could only display 1 to 2,000 pounds of strength, which was equivalent to the strength of 1 or 2 horses. But now, when he attacked with his spear, he had the strength of 1,000 horses. Compared to when he had just stepped onto the martial path, he was several hundred times stronger. And the 9th stage of the martial path was only the beginning of the martial path. If he stepped into the true spirit realm, what kind of tyrannical strength would he have? When Long Yu headed towards the depths of the soaring serpent abyss, everyone in the Zhentian clan was in an uproar. The news of Long Yu killing Elder Yu Shuiyun had spread throughout the Zhentian clan. Right now, everyone in the Zhentian clan was discussing the matter of Long Yu. In the core disciples' residence, several core disciples gathered together to discuss Long Yu. That Long Yu defeated Yi Yan and gave us the opportunity to enter the sect to cultivate. I was originally very grateful to him, but I never expected him to be such a person. That's right, he actually took advantage of Elder Yu's unconscious state, and when Lu Guanming went out to eat to murder Elder Yu. This is really incomprehensible. However, I'm thinking, could it be that Elder Wu Jianxin is deliberately framing him? After all, Shu, don't talk nonsense. That Long Yu wanted to harm Elder Yu. More than 100 people saw it. How could Wu Jianxin frame him? In the end, the few of them only felt pity and disdain towards Long Yu. After all, everyone knew that Elder Yu had saved Long Yu's life, but Long Yu was ungrateful and wanted to harm Elder Yu. This kind of behavior was not pleasing to the eye. At the peak of the Suppression Canyon, Old Bai and Old Hay were still playing chess as they guarded the Suppression Canyon. As for Liao Lele, he was pacing around anxiously. Old Bai, tell me, how could Long Yu possibly harm Elder Yu? I'm sure that Elder Wu is trying to frame Long Yu. Old Bai, think about it. Long Yu has a grudge against Luo Tailong, and he even chased Yi Yan away from the Sect Valley. Luo Tailong and Yi Yan are both Wu Jianxin's disciples, so Wu Jianxin must have a motive for wanting to harm Long Yu, right? Moreover, Senior Brother Bu said that Long Yu arrived first and blocked 3 saber rays for Elder Yu. It was a sneak attack from the Broken Saber sect that wanted to harm Elder Yu. I heard that Elder Wu and Elder Yu's relationship isn't very good, maybe. However, no matter what Liao Lele said, Old Bai and Old Hay remained unmoved. As the guardian elders of the heaven-suppressing sect, the 2 elders had experienced too many things. Now it was very difficult for anything to affect their state of mind. Lele, calm down. Old Bai smiled amiably and said lightly, Long Yu is still alive, isn't he? Furthermore, he even brought Elder Yu away. Perhaps he had his own methods? You can just wait and see. But, are we just going to do nothing? Liao Lele said through gritted teeth. It's not time for us to take the field yet. Old Bai said calmly. Liao Lele furrowed her brows. It's not time for us to take the field yet? What did that mean? Liao Lele couldn't figure it out. After all, she knew too little. At the same time, in the Zhentian clan's sect master hall, Bu Fang in a tight black outfit was talking to the sect master, Bai Yunzong. Master, that's what happened. I chased after him, but he was the #1 core disciple of the Broken Saber sect, Duan Mia. Bu Fang frowned and said, I couldn't do anything to him, but he couldn't do anything to me either. I was worried about Junior Marshal Brother Long Yu, so I retreated. Who would have thought that I was still a step too late? Junior martial brother Long Yu has already left with Elder Yu. He was forced to leave by Wu Jianxin, but I didn't expect him to be able to escape when Wu Jianxin was trying to kill him. Bai Yunzong sat on a chair with his brows tightly furrowed. He rapped the edge of the table with one hand. Originally, I wanted to save him, but the situation back then, even I was frozen by that strange aura. It was truly puzzling. Either way, that strange aura is junior brother Long Yu's secret. It should be related to his father. Bu Fang said, however, Wu Jianxin's actions were too arbitrary. He didn't respect Master at all. Besides, Wu Jianxin was nearby at the time. Logically speaking, he should have noticed Duan Mie's presence. That's right, there's something suspicious about Wu Jianxin. Bai Yunzong nodded and flicked his mustache. This Wu Jianxin had a grudge against Yu Shuiyun. They fought each other countless times when they were young, and only calmed down after he became an elder. Who would have thought? Bai Yunzong knocked on the edge of the table as he spoke. His eyes flickered with wisdom. As the sect leader, he was well aware of the personalities and past of the elders in the Elder Pavilion. Furthermore, he was able to deduce the basic truth of the events that had transpired. Bai Yunzong naturally took good care of Long Yu. However, Bai Yunzong did not step forward to exonerate Long Yu, as he did not have any evidence. Even though he was the sect leader, it was difficult for him to convince the people of the sect. He was still observing the situation from behind the scenes, waiting for the right moment to make his move. Wu Jianxin had been chasing after Long Yu for an entire day, but he still failed to catch up to him, thus he was extremely furious. After he returned, he issued a new mission to all the core disciples of the Zhentian clan. The original mission was to enter the depths of the soaring serpent abyss and collect 3 types of medicinal herbs, but now it had changed to finding Long Yu and Elder Yu Shuiyun. Since Yu Shuiyun had been taken away by Long Yu, it was useless for them to collect the 3 types of medicinal herbs. The most important thing now was to find Long Yu's whereabouts. Those who find Long Yu will be considered as a contribution, and will be rewarded with a high-ranked combat weapon. Those who kill Long Yu will be considered as a great contribution, and will be rewarded with a supreme combat weapon. In order to kill Long Yu, Wu Jianxin had put in a lot of effort, and even promised a supreme combat weapon as a reward. This naturally made the core disciples of the Zhentian clan go crazy. At the entrance of the soaring serpent abyss, the purple-robed law enforcement elder, Tan Wuchuan, brought along the red-robed Luo Tailong and his follower Meng Su. According to my understanding of that Long Yu, he should be in the depths of the soaring serpent abyss right now, trying to find the 3 types of medicinal herbs to save Yu Shuiyun. Tan Wuchuan looked at the shady bushes and said calmly. Luo Tailong's face was ferocious. This time, I must find him and tear him into pieces. This time, with Elder Tan here, wouldn't it be easy to kill that guy? The elegant Meng Su smiled flatteringly at the side. Ever since his high-ranked combat weapon was shattered by Long Yu's spear, Meng Su had lost his confidence, and was even more obedient to Luo Tailong. Cut the crap, let's go. Tan Wuchuan ignored Meng Su. The first time he met Long Yu was in the soaring serpent abyss. At that time, Long Yu had killed his disciple, Qin Tianke. Long Yu, I will also end your life in the soaring serpent abyss as a sacrifice to Tianke. Chapter 80. In the bamboo forest where the Elder Pavilion was located, beside the collapsed bamboo house of Elder Yu, the black-faced brawny man, Lu Guanming, was kneeling in front of the door with a face full of remorse. Master, I, Lu Guanming, am useless. I couldn't stop you from being taken away. Lu Guanming let out a long sigh and blamed himself. There were a few core disciples of the Zhentian clan standing behind him. They were all good friends of Lu Guanming. One of them suggested, I just found out that Long Yu crippled Senior Ling Lai's arm in Jade Pass City. Now Ling Lai's master, Elder Zheng, is furious. Why don't we look for Elder Zheng, and ask him to look for Long Yu with us? When the other person heard this, his eyes lit up. That's right. Although Elder Zheng is only an enforcement elder, his martial arts realm has already stepped into the true spirit realm. With Elder Zheng here, once we find Long Yu, we will definitely be able to capture him. Alright, let's do as you say. I, Lu Guanming, am not good with words, so I will have to rely on you guys. Lu Guanming stood up and said hatefully. Senior brother Lu, don't worry. As fellow disciples, we will definitely advance and retreat together. The core disciple who made the suggestion rolled his eyes and said, however, I heard that Long Yu has quite a few good things on him. For example, that pair of boots, that spear. Lu Guanming immediately said, if we can really find Long Yu and save my master, I, Lu Guanming, will not take any of those things. That's good. That person laughed. If that's the case, Senior Brother Lu, you will definitely be able to convince Elder Zheng to join us just because you are Elder Yu's disciple. Alright, let's go. Lu Guanming's face was filled with hatred as he turned around and left. He didn't seem to notice that his fellow disciples were just making use of him. At this moment, in the depths of the soaring snake abyss, Long Yu held the 9 Abyss Dragon Fist in one hand and Yu Shuiyun in the other as they quickly entered the depths of the soaring snake abyss. The current him couldn't be compared to the past. If he were to encounter another soaring Serpent King, he would be able to kill it with a casual strike of his spear, and it was even to the extent that he would only need to unleash the might of the world to completely suppress it. However, now that he was in the depths of the soaring Serpent King, he might encounter even stronger beasts. He might even encounter powerful beasts that had condensed their true spirits. Although the Heaven Dragon Spear had evolved into the 9 Darkness Dragon Spear and was compatible with him, Long Yu wasn't very confident that he could fight against a true spirit realm expert. This was because, apart from basic strength, the most important change in the true spirit realm was the formation of the true spirit realm. With a true spirit, Long Yu's advantage in comprehending the force of heaven and earth would disappear. If I were to encounter an expert like Wang Tianjua, it's still unknown who would emerge victorious. Long Yu thought to himself as he advanced even more cautiously in the dense forest. Suddenly, he heard the sound of a waterfall from afar and walked towards it. This was because he had deliberately studied the 3 types of herbs when he received the mission. Among them, the one that could refresh one's mind was the dragon headgrass, and it grew near the water. With the waterfall, there was a chance that he could find the dragon headgrass and try to restore Yu Shuiyun's consciousness. He quickly ran towards the source of the sound of the waterfall, and at the same time, he did not forget to conceal himself. He knew very well that the Zhentian clan must have sent out many people to search for his whereabouts. There's someone here. I need to hide first. Long Yu activated his Xian Qi and used the phantom flash. His body turned into a phantom, and he silently hid in the shadows of a thicket. As the sound of the waterfall grew louder, the conversation between the 2 young men gradually entered Long Yu's ears. I've finally found the dragon headgrass. It really wasn't easy. Senior Brother Zhang, why do you think our sect issued a mission to collect so many dragon headgrass, flowerless acorns, and sweet currant flowers? Junior Brother Li, you still don't know? Our Breaking Blade sect's Elder Wu has a long-standing grudge with an elder surnamed Yu from the Zhentian clan. Now that Elder Yu has been poisoned by the 1,000 Thread sect's entangling shadow poison, if we collect all 3 herbs, that Elder Yu will be incurable. It's actually the entangling shadow poison. I heard that this kind of poison can cause a person to lose consciousness and corrode their dantian and meridians. It's really too vicious. It's him who's been poisoned anyway. No matter how vicious it is, what does it have to do with us? Let me count the days. In 7 days, that Elder Yu will die from the poison. At that time, our Elder Wu will be in a good mood and will definitely give us more rewards. I think that the poison is most likely going to act up soon. In the depths of the soaring serpent abyss, These 3 herbs are already extremely rare. Now that our Breaking Blade sect's disciples have collected most of them, where else does the Gentian clan want to collect them from? The 2 young men chatted as they walked. They never thought that someone would be eavesdropping on them. Long Yu hid to the side and listened to their conversation. He immediately learned a lot of things. It turned out that Elder Wu, from the Breaking Blade sect, had a grudge with Yu Shuiyun. If that was the case, then the 3 shadows that tried to assassinate Yu Shuiyun were sent by Elder Wu. Furthermore, not only did Elder Wu send people to assassinate Yu Shuiyun, but he also issued a mission for the Breaking Blade sect to collect the 3 herbs first. Wu Jianxin issued a mission for core disciples to collect herbs. It's been too long since Elder Yu was saved from being poisoned. Could it be that this matter has something to do with Wu Jianxin? Could it be that Wu Jianxin is deliberately stalling for time so that the Breaking Blade sect can collect all the herbs? Long Yu secretly guessed. He soon noticed that the Breaking Blade sect's senior brother Zhang and junior brother Li were both in the 9th layer of the martial path. Most importantly, they had 2 stalks of dragon headgrass. 2 guys in the 9th layer of the martial path. With my current strength, I should be able to deal with them easily. Long Yu thought to himself as he quietly put Yu Shuiyun down. He then grabbed the 9 nether dragon spear and turned into a specter as he charged toward the 2 Breaking Blade sect disciples. Who's there? The 2 Breaking Blade sect disciples were worthy of being experts in the 9th layer of the martial path. They sensed Long Yu when he was within 10 feet of them. It's just a Gentian clan disciple in the 8th layer of the martial path. Kill him! Senior brother Zhang was slightly stronger. He could see through Long Yu's cultivation with a single glance. He roared and charged at Long Yu with a broken black saber in his hand, shouting to kill the moment we meet. How rude of the Breaking Blade sect! Long Yu chuckled. He turned into a specter and appeared in another direction. He held the 9 nether dragon spear and stabbed at junior brother Li, who was still in the same spot. Senior brother Zhang's target was Long Yu's afterimage. Layers of spear shadows. Long Yu's spear was infused with the power of heaven suppressing. Suddenly, dozens of spear shadows pierced forward. Broken saber, horizontal. Junior brother Li reacted quickly, but it was too late for him to dodge. He could only brace himself and hold the broken black saber in front of his chest as he circulated his Xian Qi. A layer of saber light barrier instantly condensed in front of him in an attempt to block Long Yu's layers of spear shadows. However, in the next moment, before the spear shadows arrived, the heaven-suppressing power that enveloped the sky had already shattered the layer of saber light barrier into pieces. Die! 9 nether chi spread out, accompanied by the power of heaven and earth, causing the Xian Qi in junior brother Li's body to stagnate. He was unable to take any measures and could only watch as the spear shadows attacked. Pooh! 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 The layers of spear shadows pierced several holes in junior brother Li's body, causing him to stare blankly as he fell to the ground with blood gushing out. Until the moment he died, he never expected that a mere Gentian clan disciple at the 8th level of the martial path would be able to kill him in one move. Senior brother Zhang cursed inwardly after he destroyed Long Yu's afterimage. When he turned around, he only saw the scene of his junior brother dying under the layers of spear shadows. He couldn't help but widen his eyes in anger. How dare you kill a disciple of my broken saber sect? You deserve to die. Senior brother Zhang waved the broken black saber in his hand and slashed 3 times in the air. Suddenly, 3 saber lights attacked Long Yu. 3 graceful saber strikes. Bang! 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 3 saber flashes whistled through the air. They came from the front, left and right, attacking Long Yu from 3 different directions at an extremely fast speed. Nether Dragon Leap. Long Yu swung the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand. Suddenly, a gust of air swept his body hundreds of meters into the air. Swish! Long Yu was swept up by the gust of air. Netherworld aura filled the tip of his spear. In an instant, he jumped out of the forest and saw a bright moon hanging in the sky. As the moonlight sprinkled down, the depths of the soaring serpent abyss was bathed in silver light. Kill! Long Yu swung his spear and his body descended like a meteor. The tip of his spear was pointed at Senior Brother Zhang of the Broken Saber sect. Senior Brother Zhang was wondering where Long Yu had jumped to. How could he have imagined that Long Yu could jump so high? When he saw Long Yu's figure descend from the trees, the black ripples on the spear reflected the moonlight. It was already too late for him to dodge. After the Qian Dragon Spear evolved into the 9 Nether Dragon Spear, the Heaven Dragon Leap also changed accordingly. It could be called the Nether Dragon Leap. In an instant, he could jump hundreds of meters. General momentum suppress. Following Long Yu's shout, the long spear suddenly pierced into the ground. Senior Apprentice Brother Zhang, at the crucial moment, actually moved a step to the side, not being pierced by the long spear. Even so, the gust of wind generated by the spear still sent Senior Brother Zhang flying. He crashed heavily into a thick tree trunk, knocking it down. Even though he had not been stabbed by the spear, Senior Brother Zhang still felt dizzy and his vision blurred. Long Yu took a step forward and finished him off with a single thrust of his spear. He then snatched the dragon headgrass from Senior Brother Zhang's chest. The dragon headgrass is in my hands. There's hope for Elder Yu to wake up. Long Yu took 2 stalks of dragon headgrass. As for the corpses of the 2 Broken Saber sect disciples, he couldn't be bothered with them. He returned to his original spot and helped Yu Shuiyun up. His footsteps were light as he leapt away, soon disappearing from sight. Such an intense battle would definitely attract the attention of nearby people. If Long Yu wanted to save Yu Shuiyun, he had to find another safe place. Soon, he arrived at the bottom of the waterfall. This dragon headgrass can be consumed directly. I'll smash it first, then mix it with water for Elder Yu to drink. Chapter 81. After mixing the dragon headgrass with water and feeding it to Elder Yu, Long Yu moved his body to the bushes at the side. After consuming the dragon headgrass, with its medicinal power, Elder Yu should be able to wake up. However, the damage to his meridians and dantian cannot be healed for the time being. As Long Yu thought about it, he ran back to the river under the waterfall, preparing to drink some water. But right at this moment, he suddenly felt a trace of concealed killing intent coming from the river, and actually enveloped his entire person within it. Who is it? Long Yu's heart trembled and he immediately became vigilant. Within the killing intent, there is a cold and fiendish aura mixed with it. Furthermore, there is a fishy smell. Could it be a fierce beast? Long Yu secretly guessed. If it was a fierce beast, could it be a fierce beast that had condensed a true spirit? If that was the case, with Long Yu's current strength, he did not have much confidence in winning. Long Yu did not act rashly and only tightened his right hand that was holding the 9 Nether Dragon Spear. Hiss hiss. Suddenly, a sound that sounded like a poisonous snake hissing entered Long Yu's ears, causing him to suffocate. The profound energy in his body actually stopped because of that hissing sound. Dantian pulse. With a thought, Long Yu's tempered dantian immediately pulsed, allowing the stagnant profound energy to once again be transported to his entire body. Immediately after, he felt danger coming from the water, heading straight for his face. He did not even see the other party's form. Relying on his intuition of danger, he swept out the 9 Nether Dragon Spear in his hand. Layers of spear shadows. The heaven-suppressing great power came out with a loud bang, stabbing out dozens of spear shadows, completely blocking the space in front of Long Yu. If he wanted to attack him, he would have to break through his layers of spear shadows. Even a martial cultivator at the 9th level of the martial Dao would not be able to do so. Hiss hiss. The strange hissing sound of a venomous snake reverberated throughout the entire arena. A gigantic, pitch-black venomous snake leapt out of the water and lunged at Long Yu. At the same time, a tyrannical pressure was suddenly emitted from the body of the giant poisonous snake. Then, the shadow of a strange grass condensed behind the giant poisonous snake. True spirit, it's actually a true spirit of a small grass. Long Yu was greatly shocked. He never thought that under this waterfall, he would actually encounter a powerful demonic beast that had condensed a true spirit. Although he didn't know what Xiao Chao's true spirit was, Long Yu could feel the tyrannical pressure coming from it. It actually made him feel as if he had fallen into a swamp, and he was almost unable to move. Boom! With a loud bang, the giant viper swung its thick tail and immediately broke Long Yu's heavy spear shadows. As for the great momentum of the world that Long Yu had condensed, it was also swept away by the tail, and it was almost completely defeated. So powerful! Long Yu gritted his teeth and subconsciously wanted to use his movement skill, but he found that all the Xian Qi in his body was entangled by the aura emitted by the true spirit of the other party, and he couldn't use it at all. This true spirit of the small grass is much stronger than Wang Tianjua's Tiger King true spirit. Whether it was movement skill or other martial arts, Long Yu couldn't use any of them at this moment. Even with the demon vanquishing tyrant body, he was sure that at this moment, he absolutely couldn't resist the attack of the giant viper in front of him. Hiss hiss. Seeing that Long Yu couldn't move, the giant viper seemed to be extremely proud of itself. As it hissed, it looked at Long Yu with its scarlet eyes. Soon, perhaps it felt that there was nothing worth studying about Long Yu, it immediately hissed again, and its entire body jumped out of the water, completely black. As it spiraled and wriggled, it was actually more than 200 feet long. Actually, when Long Yu saw the snake's head that was even larger than his entire body, he was able to guess its approximate size. However, now that he saw its entire body, he couldn't help but sigh with emotion. This fellow probably doesn't even need any tricks. He can directly wrap me with his strength and crush my internal organs. Not to mention, he has actually condensed a strange true spirit of the small grass. Long Yu's mind raced. At this moment, was there really no other way? Could it be that he had to pierce the dragon's seal of the 9 underworlds in his chest again? Just as he was deep in thought, the giant venomous snake grew impatient. It spat out its scarlet tongue, and Long Yu's figure was reflected in its snake eyes. Then, it used its entire tongue to bite Long Yu. Is it over? Long Yu's pupils constricted. Just as he was thinking about this, he suddenly felt that the Xian Qi in his body that had been frozen suddenly unbound, and he could actually use it. This discovery made him overjoyed. Almost immediately, he circulated his Xian Qi and displayed the peak realm of wind flash step. After leaving an afterimage on the spot, he instantly retreated 3 large steps, a distance of 100 feet. Boom! The giant viper bit onto Long Yu's afterimage, instantly shattering the afterimage. Following that, it bit onto a huge rock that was as big as a person by the side of the water, shattering the huge rock into pieces. Rubble fell in all directions, scattering all over the ground. As for Long Yu, he transformed into a ghost and hid in the shade of a tree at the side. He carefully observed the scene and saw a scene that made him happy. He saw a translucent true spirit palm imprint appear out of thin air by the side of the water, confronting the giant viper's true spirit of the grass. Elder Yu, you're awake. Long Yu immediately knew what was going on, but he didn't make a sound. Now that the giant viper was using the true spirit of the grass to fight against Yu Shuiyun's true spirit palm imprint, it let out a series of hissing sounds. It looked like both sides were evenly matched. Long Yu was currently hiding in the dark. If he grasped the opportunity, he would definitely be able to kill the giant viper in one fell swoop. Yu Shuiyun had awakened. Although his meridians and dantian had not been healed, and he was unable to use any martial skills, he was still an expert of the true spirit realm. Other than martial skills, Yu Shuiyun could also use his true spirit. Immediately, he used the power of suppression to fight against the giant viper's true spirit, saving Long Yu's life from the snake's mouth. The true spirit palm imprint contained an incomparably tyrannical suppression law. The moment it appeared, it completely suppressed the power of the true spirit of the grass. However, Yu Shuiyun had just woken up from his coma, so the power of the true spirit palm imprint was quite weak. The giant viper was caught off guard and was suppressed back, but then it used the strange power of the true spirit of the grass to firmly entangle the true spirit palm imprint's tyrannical suppression law. Even Yu Shuiyun's true spirit palm imprint seemed to have fallen into a swamp, unable to display its full strength. Long Yu hid to the side and carefully observed everything that was happening. He couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. Just what kind of power did the true spirit of the grass contain? How could it be so strange and powerful? However, Yu Shuiyun's martial arts realm was after all stronger than the giant viper. At this moment, even if he was at a disadvantage in the battle of true spirits, he was still able to firmly suppress the opponent's true spirit of the grass. The strange power of the true spirit of the grass could no longer spread to the surroundings and affect Long Yu. Bastard, you've just condensed your true spirit and you want to fight with me, Yu Shuiyun? You must be tired of living. Yu Shuiyun's figure in a black robe finally appeared from the bushes. Long Yu's heart trembled. Looking over, he could clearly see the weak expression on Yu Shuiyun's face. However, it seemed as if she wanted to attract the attention of the gigantic viper, so he didn't hesitate to step forward. Hiss hiss. When the giant viper saw Yu Shuiyun, it immediately understood that it was the illusory image of the true spirit condensed by the old man in front of it that was fighting against its true spirit of the grass. It spat out its scarlet tongue and slapped its tail on the shore. Its entire pitch-black body rushed towards Yu Shuiyun. Not good, Elder Yu's meridians and dantian have been poisoned. He can't use any martial skills, so he definitely can't resist this giant viper. Seeing this, Long Yu gritted his teeth. In a split second, he could only tightly grip the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand, and his dantian beat along with his heart. Dong, dong, dong. The beating of his dantian caused the profound chi in his body to boil and completely fuse into the tip of the 9 nether dragon spear. 9 nether dragon seal, activate. 9 nether dragon spear, 9 nether veins, activate. Long Yu used his profound chi to activate the 9 nether chi, and instantly, the entire 9 nether dragon spear appeared with the 9 nether chi, causing it to seem eerie and strange. An aura that seemed to come from the 9 nether springs was instantly transmitted out. Beast, eat my spear. Layer upon layer of spear shadows. Long Yu took a step forward and his body turned into a light breeze. With a long spear in his hand, he condensed the strength of 1,000 horses and pierced towards the giant viper that was galloping. Hiss hiss. The giant viper roared, and its tail immediately swept towards Long Yu. However, its main body didn't care about Long Yu and continued to gallop towards Yu Shuiyun. From its point of view, Yu Shuiyun's threat was obviously much greater than Long Yu's. Bang! With a loud sound, Long Yu's numerous spear shadows were swept by the giant viper's tail and directly collapsed, scattering in all directions. Immediately after, the tail swept across Long Yu's waist. Long Yu endured the huge force and immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, instantly dyeing the tip of the spear red. Now, spiritual communication, martial skill, touch of the reverse scale. Long Yu was swept by the giant viper's tail and spat out a mouthful of blood that sprinkled onto the 9 nether dragon spear, instantly activating the 9 nether dragon spear's spiritual communication, martial skill. An incomparably ferocious aura was emitted from the 9 nether dragon spear. Heaven suppressing great power. Touch of the reverse scale. The spear that was infused with Long Yu's strongest heaven suppressing great power emitted a terrifying 9 nether chi and instantly pierced the giant viper's pitch-black body. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The giant viper was still in the process of galloping. It completely didn't expect that Long Yu would still be able to survive after being swept by its tail. Not only that, but he actually used an even stronger spear. With a terrifying strength that was almost twice as strong as the previous layers of spear shadows, the tip of the spear instantly pierced through its entire body. It let out a painful roar as its huge pitch-black body was blasted back by the huge force of the 9 nether dragon's spear. It fell onto the shore and smashed into a pile of boulders. Long Yu stood with his spear in hand. His entire body was shrouded in a faint 9 nether chi, as if he was an emissary from the 9 nether yellow springs. However, the thick bloodstains at the side of his mouth let people know that he was seriously injured. Stinking brat, hurry up and take out this mutated Ouroboros's inner core. Once you consume it, you will be able to detoxify the poison. At the same time, you will also be able to increase your martial realm by another level. Chapter 82. When Long Yu heard Yu Shuiyun's words, he immediately reacted. Every demonic beast would have an inner core, and this inner core was the same as a martial cultivator's dantian. It was a place where they stored the energy they cultivated. However, the nature of demonic beast cultivation was different from that of martial cultivators. Martial cultivators transformed the heaven and earth spiritual qi into xian qi and stored it in their dantian and meridians. Other martial cultivators were unable to absorb the xian qi from martial cultivators because they would reject it. However, the energy cultivated by demonic beasts was known as demonic qi. Demonic qi could be absorbed by martial cultivators. Therefore, martial cultivators usually did not differentiate between demonic qi and heaven and earth spiritual qi. As long as they obtained the inner core of a demonic beast, they could absorb the demonic qi within to raise their martial realm. Of course, as the demonic beast died, the demonic qi within its inner core would gradually dissipate. The longer it died, the more demonic qi would dissipate. In this way, the only way to absorb more demonic qi was to take out the inner core of a demonic beast when it was just killed. When Long Yu heard Yu Shuiyun's words, he immediately endured the churning of his internal organs and walked to the collapsed mutated Ouroboros. This huge black creature's body had been pierced through by Long Yu's spear, almost splitting it into two. From this, one could see how terrifying the 9 nether dragon spear's spiritual martial technique, the reverse scale touch, was. The inner core is at its abdomen. Luckily, it was nearly destroyed by the spear. Long Yu rejoiced in his heart as he hurriedly extended his hand into the broken part of the mutated Ouroboros. Not long after, a warm mutated Ouroboros' inner core was taken out by Long Yu. It was emitting a strange energy. Other than demonic qi, it actually contained heaven and earth spiritual qi that had not been absorbed. This mutated Ouroboros must have eaten a strange grass to be able to condense its true spirit. Yu Shuiyun's words came from behind Long Yu as her footsteps gradually approached. The strange grass's spiritual qi has not been completely absorbed by it. Now you're lucky. With the true spirit realm's mutated Ouroboros' inner core and the strange grass's spiritual qi, you should be able to smoothly advance. Elder Yu, do you know what the true spirit of that snake is? Long Yu pondered for a moment before asking. I don't know either. I've never seen such a strange herb before. But you don't have to worry. Since the herb has already been swallowed by the mutant Ouroboros, it shouldn't cause any harm to you. Yu Shuiyun said. Yes. Long Yu nodded and did not say anything else to Yu Shuiyun. He held the inner core and ran to a nearby thicket. He found a secluded and safe spot and sat down cross-legged. He crushed the inner core with his teeth, then circulated the profound energy in his body and sucked all the demonic qi and spiritual qi contained in the inner core into his mouth. At the same time, the 9 nether dragon seal was activated and began to store the demonic energy and spiritual energy that he could not directly absorb. In addition to the high-grade pills stored in the 9 nether dragon seal, it was just right for him to break through to the 9th level of the martial Tao. Strange, why do I still feel the power of the grass? Long Yu frowned as he absorbed the demonic energy and spiritual energy. He felt that the strange power of the mutant Ouroboros's true spirit seemed to be transmitted from the inner core into his body. That strange power gave people the feeling that it was like a swamp. Once released, it would make people feel as if they had fallen into a swamp. Even moving would feel difficult. This was similar to the effect of the law of suppression, but it was different. If he could use it, it might be able to play a unique role in special situations. Let's ignore him for now. Right now, the most important thing is to step into the 9th level of the martial Tao. Long Yu put down his thoughts and began to circulate the profound energy in his body, preparing to break through the next checkpoint of the heavenly meridian. The heavenly meridian of the human body was connected to heaven and earth. It was an important existence that allowed one to feel the laws of heaven and earth. There were a total of 4 checkpoints in the heavenly meridian. When one broke through the first checkpoint of the heavenly meridian, they could step into the 7th level of the martial Tao. They could release their profound energy and initially sense the existence of the laws of heaven and earth. As a martial cultivator broke through more checkpoints of the heavenly meridian, the connection with the laws of heaven and earth would become stronger and stronger. The 7th level of the martial Tao allowed the heavenly meridian to have a point of connection with heaven and earth. The 8th level of the martial Tao allowed the heavenly meridian to have a line of connection with heaven and earth. If one broke through the 3rd checkpoint and stepped into the 9th level of the martial Tao, they would be able to connect the heavenly meridian with heaven and earth. At that point, they would be at the peak of the martial Tao, the 9th level. As long as they broke through the last checkpoint of the heavenly meridian, they would be able to connect the heavenly meridian with heaven and earth. By then, they would be able to condense a true spirit and borrow more of the laws of heaven and earth to reach the true spirit realm. Long Yu began to absorb the inner core to cultivate while Yu Shuiyun stood guard by the side and rested. Although the poisoned elder had just woken up, he immediately realized the situation he was in. It was clear that he was experienced in fighting. At that moment, he was wearing a black robe and resting with his eyes closed. Suddenly, he felt some movement not far away, causing him to open his eyes. So it's 2 old acquaintances. Yu Shuiyun's eyes flickered, but she didn't act rashly. Although she didn't know the reason, when the inner core was in Long Yu's hands, not even a trace of demonic qi or spiritual qi was emitted. At that moment, hiding in the thicket was extremely hidden, and it was almost impossible to attract the attention of others. As for Yu Shuiyun himself, all his meridians and dantian were poisoned and his profound qi was sealed, so it was even more impossible for others to notice him. At that moment, the 2 of them were a distance away from the water. The corpse of the mutated coiled serpent was lying by the water's edge, not taken care of. Not long after, 2 figures with powerful auras descended beside the corpse of the mutated coiled serpent at the same time. One of them had a dark face, a sturdy and short figure like a black charcoal. It was Elder Wu Jianxin of the Zhentian clan. The other person was wearing a black robe and hat. From his appearance, it could be seen that he was quite tall, but it was impossible to tell who he was. However, Yu Shuiyun could clearly tell his identity from his aura. Wu Jianxin is actually colluding with Wu Li. Yu Shuiyun sensed the aura of the 2 and quietly observed from the side, secretly starting to use her methods. Brother Wu, how is it going? Have you found any traces of old Yu? We haven't found them yet, but they have nowhere to run. Right now, the entire Zhentian clan is looking for them. That's good. In the depths of the soaring serpent abyss, the 3 scented herbs have almost all been collected by our Broken Blade sect. According to the time, old Yu definitely won't be able to see the sun on the 7th day. However, this giant coiled serpent in front of us, Wu Jianxin seemed to be a little puzzled as he looked at the corpse of the giant coiled serpent. This coiled serpent seems to have been killed by a sharp weapon. This means that our Broken Blade sect has a true spirit realm disciple in the soaring serpent abyss. He has already collected the sweet currant flower and is on his way back. This coiled serpent should be killed by him. The black-robed elder Wu Li of the Broken Blade sect said in a relaxed manner, "All right, I won't be leaving for the next few days. I want to personally witness old Yu's death." Ha ha ha. Of course, the two of them didn't think that Long Yu and Yu Shuiyun, who was poisoned and couldn't use her cultivation, could kill this giant coiled serpent. Therefore, they didn't even have a trace of doubt in their minds. After talking for a while, the two of them left, allowing Yu Shuiyun to let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, Long Yu's martial realm is too low, so no one would suspect him. Otherwise, if they found him, he really wouldn't be able to escape. But now Yu Shuiyun's eyes flashed. He clenched his right hand, and within it, there was a true spiritual imprint that recorded the conversation between Wu Jianxin and Wu Li. As long as he returned to the sect, Wu Jianxin's shady business would be exposed. The true spiritual imprint was a small technique that martial cultivators in the true spirit realm could use. It used the power of the true spirit to capture the scene in front of them and imprint it, including images, sounds, etc. At that time, as long as he crushed the true spiritual imprint, he would be able to reproduce the scene for everyone to see. Just now, the conversation between Wu Jianxin and Wu Li had been imprinted by Yu Shuiyun. At this time, Long Yu had reached a crucial moment in absorbing the coiled serpent's inner core. Vein of the Heavens, the third checkpoint break. The 9 underworld dragon seal contained a dense amount of heaven and earth spiritual qi, which was like a raging wave, crashed against the third checkpoint of the vein of the heavens, finally causing it to shake. Once, twice, thrice. The dense amount of spiritual qi and demonic qi continued to crash against each other, turning into profound qi and becoming a part of Long Yu's strength. Break. Finally, Long Yu let out a roar in his heart, and the blockage in the vein of the heavens was finally broken. As the third checkpoint of the vein of the heavens was broken, he instantly felt his connection with heaven and earth strengthen once again, to the point that there was only one last barrier left. If he broke through this barrier, he would be able to condense a true spirit and step into the true spirit realm. However, the amount of spiritual qi stored in the 9 underworld dragon seal was not enough. The total amount of spiritual qi needed to condense a true spirit was even more than the total amount of spiritual qi needed to advance from the first stage to the 9th stage of the martial Tao. Furthermore, other than spiritual qi, talent and perception were more important. If one's talent and perception were insufficient, then even if they spent their entire lives, they would not be able to condense a true spirit. For example, the Tan family's ancestor who had died under Long Yu's fist. I've finally reached the 9th stage of the martial Tao. The coiled serpent's inner core and the remaining spiritual qi of the grass are indeed extraordinary. Added together, it is equivalent to the effect of 10 high-grade medicinal pills. As Long Yu opened his eyes, a look of confidence could be seen in his eyes. As he stepped into the 9th stage of the martial Tao, his basic strength had increased to the strength of nearly 300 horses. If he used spear shadows or reverse scale touch, he would be able to release the strength of more than 2,000 horses with a single spear strike. If he didn't have the confidence to challenge an expert in the first stage of the true spirit realm before, then he finally had a certain level of confidence. Chapter 83. When Long Yu stepped into the 9th stage of the martial path, his basic strength had greatly increased. Not only that, the coiled serpent's venom that he was struck by with its tail had been completely removed after he consumed the coiled serpent's inner core. There were no longer any side effects. However, I seemed to have gained some understanding of the strange power contained in the coiled serpent's true spirit. If I consolidate it, I might be able to display it directly like the heaven-suppressing intent. Long Yu thought to himself as he finally stood up. When he was breaking through to the 9th stage of the martial path, he sensed two people not far away. However, they did not come close, so he did not pay much attention to them. At this moment, he was a little curious. Who were those two people? He walked out of the grass and saw Yu Shuiyun in a black robe sitting cross-legged. "Little guy, you're finally out. You really didn't disappoint me. You've finally stepped into the 9th stage of the martial path." Hearing Long Yu's movements, Yu Shuiyun opened her eyes with a hint of praise. "It's all thanks to Elder Yu that I was able to kill that coiled serpent. Otherwise, I would have been buried in the serpent's stomach and become a delicious meal for that coiled serpent." Long Yu said with a smile. "All right, tell me what happened earlier. How did I end up with you?" Yu Shuiyun asked with a smile. "Before I fainted, I only vaguely saw Elder He rushing over. I don't know anything else. Also, why are you being targeted by Wu Jianxin? The entire Zhentian clan is looking for us." Long Yu's heart trembled when he heard that. How did Yu Shuiyun know that he was being targeted by Wu Jianxin? It seemed that the two people who had just arrived had said something to Yu Shuiyun to roughly know the current situation. Following that, Long Yu recounted everything from the beginning. Of course, Long Yu omitted the matter of him returning to the Feng clan and only talked about his visit to Yu Shuiyun. Soon, Yu Shuiyun roughly understood the situation. "So that's how it is. Wu Li, Wu Jianxin, they're really audacious to want to kill me in the Elder Pavilion." After Yu Shuiyun heard what Long Yu had to say, a cold glint flashed in his eyes. "All right, little fellow, this old man has to thank you for saving my life. However, after this, Wu Jianxin and Wu Li can forget about escaping the Zhentian clan's territory. Elder Yu, the poison in your body hasn't been detoxified yet. How can you be so confident in dealing with them?" Long Yu was a little surprised. "Haha, I've already imprinted the scene of the two of them meeting with my imprint of true spirit. However, this imprint of true spirit can only be released once. Therefore, I'll only release it at the most crucial moment. I believe that sect leader Bai has long since prepared for this." Yu Shuiyun said confidently. "Sect leader Bai?" Long Yu frowned. White Cloud Track was ready. As the clan leader of the Zhentian clan, Bai Yunzong would naturally not stand idly by and do nothing. "Well, what should I do now?" Long Yu asked. Since Yu Shuiyun had a plan, there was no need for Long Yu to hide any longer. He might as well show himself earlier and subdue the culprit. As for the poison in Yu Shuiyun's body, it would take some time before it took effect. If everything went smoothly, she would be fine. Now, let's return to the Zhentian clan. I'd like to see how Wu Jianxin is going to face the Zhentian clan after doing such a thing. Yu Shuiyun flung her sleeves and turned around, walking in the direction of the Zhentian clan. Long Yu followed closely behind. "Elder Yu, you can't use your martial skills now. Let me lead the way." After saying this, he turned into a gentle breeze and arrived in front of Yu Shuiyun, leading the way. Seeing this, Yu Shuiyun was extremely satisfied with Long Yu. His eyes flickered with approval. Such a talented, decisive young man would definitely not be any weaker than him in the future. "Elder, be careful." Long Yu quickly moved through the forest and soon sensed some movement in front of him, causing him to be on high alert. From the aura, it seems to be a disciple of the Broken Blade sect, first layer of the True Spirit secret realm. Yu Shuiyun narrowed her eyes and quickly obtained more information than Long Yu. True Spirit secret realm experts had condensed their true spirits, so their senses were naturally stronger than normal martial cultivators. In this dense forest, as long as there was movement, they would be able to sense it easily. Now that Yu Shuiyun had sensed the other party had also sensed him and Long Yu. The next moment, a cold saber light pierced through the forest and headed straight for Long Yu. Heaven-suppressing spear art. Long Yu shook the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand, and instantly, the heaven-suppressing aura spread out, shattering the cold saber light. Your Excellency, great spear skills. A loud laugh came from the forest in front of them, followed by a shout. However, against me, the soul-burying saber Lu Yi, only death awaits you. Soul-burying saber Lu Yi. If one had some understanding of the Broken Blade sect, they would easily know that this Lu Yi was the 5th-ranked core disciple in the Broken Blade sect. He had already stepped into the true spirit secret realm for more than half a year. He cultivated a transcendent martial skill, the soul-burying saber art. When he used it, it was enough to make gods and ghosts tremble in fear. Normally, as long as the Gentian clan disciples had not stepped into the true spirit secret realm, they would be too scared to fight the soul-burying saber Lu Yi. However, Long Yu had no idea who this soul-burying saber Lu Yi was. He had no fear in his heart as he turned around and said to Yu Shuiyun, "Elder Yu, let me deal with him alone." These words stunned Yu Shuiyun. "You're only in the 9th rank of the martial path. Without the help of my true spirit secret realm, how can you fight against an expert from the true spirit secret realm? Even if the opponent is only in the 1st rank of the true spirit secret realm, his strength is still terrifying. Elder Yu, trust me." Long Yu yelled as his body turned into a light breeze. He sped towards the direction of the voice with the tip of his spear. Yu Shuiyun nodded inwardly. This Long Yu was really courageous. "If you can't do it, I'll help you," Yu Shuiyun thought to herself, and gave up on the idea of working together with Long Yu. As for Long Yu, he wielded the 9 nether dragon spear and stabbed towards the source of the voice with the heaven-suppressing aura. However, he found that he had stabbed empty air. The opponent was no longer far away. Not only that, even the heaven-suppressing aura he released did not suppress anyone. "Haha, you're too slow." Soul-burying saber Lu Ye's arrogant laughter came from another direction, graceful 3 strikes. For Lu Yi, it was too easy to deal with a mere 9th-rank Gentian clan disciple. And this person happened to be the guy that the Broken Saber sect's elder Wu Li was looking for. If he could kill this person and capture the old man behind him who was poisoned and unable to use his qi, wouldn't that be a great merit? At this moment, Lu Yi was even thinking about what kind of reward she would receive. Although it's the same graceful 3 strikes, it's at the perfection realm. This speed is too fast. Long Yu's heart trembled. He turned around and saw 3 biting cold saber lights flying towards him. In the blink of an eye, they had already flown in front of him. The graceful triple saber was an extremely fast saber martial technique. With just a glance, 3 saber lights could kill 3 people. This was the essence of this saber martial skill. In martial skills, speed reigned supreme. Only speed could not be broken. Layers of spear shadows, break for me. Long Yu swept the 9 nether dragon spear horizontally and immediately condensed the heaven-suppressing aura. Layers of spear shadows swept out and immediately collided with the graceful 3 strikes in midair. Boom! After a loud explosion, the saber light and spear shadows dissipated at the same time. However, before Long Yu had time to rest, he felt a powerful force of heaven and earth descend from the sky, enveloping his entire body. This is the Broken Saber sect's mental cultivation technique, the heaven and earth force. Long Yu's heart trembled. He could only feel someone moving quickly nearby, but he couldn't see the opponent's figure at all. Broken Saber sect's mental cultivation technique, Broken Saber Walk. Yu Shuiyun reminded him when she saw this. The concept of Broken Saber Walk is speed. A broken saber can slash through the world, only speed cannot be broken. A martial cultivator who has comprehended the Broken Saber Walk's concept is more than twice as fast as us Gentian clan disciples of the same level. If they were at the same level, Long Yu could also comprehend the heaven-suppressing aura and suppress the opponent, counteracting the opponent's Broken Saber Walk. But now, Long Yu was only at the 9th level of the martial Dao, while the soul-bearing saber Lu Yi had condensed a true spirit. The difference in basic strength existed no matter what, so Long Yu's heaven-suppressing aura was unable to counteract the opponent's broken saber walk. It could only slightly reduce the opponent's speed. As a result, Long Yu couldn't keep up with the opponent's speed at all. Being in a passive position in terms of speed meant that the chances of Long Yu losing in the end were greatly increased. Speed must be overtaken. This is the most important factor in controlling the rhythm of the battle. Long Yu's eyes lit up. Since I can't make myself faster, I'll think of a way to make you slower. With a thought, the power of the strange grass that he had absorbed not long ago was finally released through the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand. I'm afraid the feeling of falling into a swamp isn't that good. I'll let you have a taste. Long Yu's spear swept across and immediately released the power contained in the strange grass, causing it to spread rapidly in all directions. In the next moment, the surroundings of Long Yu seemed to have turned into a swamp. Even the air flow became sluggish. The wind in this space had completely stopped. It's the concept of twin. Yu Shuiyun sensed the situation and was immediately stunned. She then closed her mouth and thought to herself, it's the strange grass that the mutated Ouroboros swallowed. Twin concept. When a martial cultivator comprehended two concepts, how much power would they be able to produce when they fused together? Yu Shuiyun didn't know because she hadn't seen it with her own eyes. She had only heard that martial cultivators who could comprehend the concept of twin were all geniuses. This kid, although he didn't comprehend the concept of twin by himself, just swallowing the inner core of the mutated Ouroboros is enough for him to be proud of. Yu Shuiyun exclaimed in her heart. Twin concept? The strange power of this grass is also a type of concept? Long Yu's eyes lit up. Since that's the case, I'll call you the concept of withering swamp. The concept of withering swamp spread out and turned the surrounding space into a swamp. Even the peerless speed of the soul-burying saber willow leaf, which had displayed the broken saber aura, was completely obstructed. Its speed suddenly dropped to a level that Long Yu could catch. What kind of power is this? The soul-burying saber was dressed in black and wore a black hat. He held a broken saber with a black handle in his hand. When he felt his speed being restricted by the swamp-like air, his expression instantly changed. But immediately after, the phantom of a broken saber condensed behind him. Even if you're a little strange, what can you do now that my true spirit of the broken saber has appeared? The soul-burying saber shouted and his killing intent exploded. Soul-burying saber, you're already dead. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.